think Gary Vee is a part of the problem with that.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you need to be putting out 5,000 pieces of fucking content a day, and you got to start a podcast, and you got to do this. I'm just like, dude, I'm just going to just do a few things.
Right.
Because I tried to do that. I really did. I was like, let me put out X amount of fucking pieces of content every day. Let me make sure I'm on every fucking platform.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I'm just like, dude, I don't even like TikTok. I was like, fuck it.
I'm actually going to look into it a little bit because I've noticed that I got a friend, well, Dave Whitley.
Yeah.
He's killing it with TikTok.
Is it? Dude, here's the thing. Most people are. You can get crazy numbers. It's unadult.
Exactly.
Like, they're not regulating, like, like there's no algorithm, so anybody can see
That's
it.
what I'm saying. And it's cool because in a lot of ways, it is really true social networking because people share your stuff.
Right.
Or the tag and comment or repost or whatever. And so you could put that out there. But what's cool is that Dave has really doubled down on his strengths, which is old-time strongman.
Yeah.
Man, he's blown his up. I think he's got he might be up at a couple 40,000 followers now or some stuff
He'll
like
be more
that.
than that pretty soon.
I'm sure it is.
It's easy to grow on that thing.
And
People who
for,
aren't
like,
even interesting can grow on that.
Exactly. And even for, like, if you think, like, Instagram and, like, what I do in fitness, being able to put, I mean, that's a very visual industry.
Yeah.
And so people don't, like, want to read a lot of stuff. They want to see, okay, yeah, I get the articles and the words and everything, but I want to see pictures, I want to see video, I want to see proof.
Right.
And if you can do that with a TikTok or an Instagram or whatever, those mediums seem like it's a little bit more my lane. Like, I don't even like Snapchat, to be honest. Like,
I got off Snapchat. I just pretty much, dude, I pretty much just stick to Instagram, and then I share it to Facebook through Instagram.
See, I'm going to start doing that. I was just talking about this over the weekend.
Yeah.
Somebody at the Renaissance Festival was talking about how they'll do the Instagram page and then their partner does the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Which is funny because he's not on Facebook at all. So then they had to switch because he's like, I just don't want to be on Facebook.
Dude, it's so toxic and poisonous
really
on
is.
there, dude. It's like I had to get off of there because I felt like I was arguing with everybody. So like right when the George Floyd shit went down,
Yes.
everybody's at everybody's throat. Yeah, we're going, bro. We're going.
I think I saw the red light. I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah, we're fucking doing it, bro. We're just having a conversation.
I love it.
Dude, everybody's in everybody's throat, and mine included, and it's just like it disrupted my inner peace.
Yes.
And I didn't like it.
No,
And
absolutely not.
It's like I don't like anxiety. I kind of naturally deal with it,
Yeah.
which is why I smoke weed and different things. It's for
Exactly.
real. But it was like I cannot fucking do this. So I got off there for a little bit, but like I still kind of have to be on there to promote the podcast.
Sure.
So like. Old habits die hard, so you get on there, you start scrolling.
I was just going to say the
second.
same thing. It's like you get in with one intention, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, let me jump on my personal page and just see what's going on.
Yeah,
and you scroll for 5 minutes, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly. I'm like, let me get the fuck off of this. And dude, the other day, I made a comment on somebody's thing because I was like, whatever. It's not the biggest deal in the world. I didn't expect it to turn into this thing that it did.
Yeah.
So, are you familiar with like the whole shit talking between Colby Covington and LeBron James at the moment?
I just started catching up on that the other
Right.
day. Funny enough, I found out about that from Instagram.
Did you? Yeah. So somebody, Nick Sanders made a post. You know Nick Sanders?
Oh, yeah. I did see this one where it was the idea of like, LeBron couldn't last against Colby because,
Yeah.
Even though he's an athlete. And
He just said it was insane. And I made a comment. I'm like, is it really insane? Like, for real?
yeah,
I'm like,
I thought it was a very interesting discussion because, like, off the hip, the coach and the trainer in me says it's very hard. Like, I'm just thinking of, like, the time that you spend because, like, we both do jiu-jitsu. So, time on the mats is time on the mats that you can't get any other way.
right.
So it's like you kind of only have one way to go about that.
Right.
But the idea of if LeBron wanted to turn his hand to MMA,
Right.
then you have all these variables to consider, like, how good is he going to be in the striking, the wrestling? Like, there's no way he's going to catch Colby in wrestling.
Right.
But could he counter enough to use reach and strike? You start those discussions,
Right.
and at the end of the day, the way I look at it is like it's very fun to discuss,
Yeah.
but it's all bullshit because LeBron's never going to do it anyway. He makes way more money than he ever would.
Right. It's never going to happen.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, I just kind of said my piece, and everybody just started going after me, bro. Like, and I just finally got to the point because it's like, look, dude, I fucking train jiu-jitsu. I fucking fight. I'm not even a basketball fan. I'm not just some just blind LeBron James fan who's just gonna like defend the guy. I put the address to my fucking gym. I'm like, you guys can come find me, like, because dude, it made me so pissed off. Because like the way I look at it is, I'm not saying, and I even said this in my comment at one point. I was like, we can just agree to disagree. It's not that serious,
Right.
I'm like. I'm just saying I wouldn't count LeBron out. I'm not saying Colby wouldn't win. There's a lot of good points. I mean, Colby was a D1 athlete. He's a great athlete.
Yes.
Now, I wouldn't say he's a super athlete.
I could see that.
I call LeBron James a super athlete. Like he's different.
Yes.
Like Jim Thorpe, fucking
Oh, yeah.
Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders. These are fucking super athletes.
Yeah.
Colby Covington is not that.
No.
I think LeBron James is.
I think Bo Jackson's a great example. You want to talk about a guy who actually was able to perform in 2 sports.
Dude, right?
That's a great one right there.
You know what I'm saying? Like these are super athletes. And dude, LeBron James is 6'9".
I was just gonna say way better than Michael Jordan when he went to baseball.
Yeah, but apparently even he wasn't a terrible hitter.
No.
Yeah. So, but dude, yeah, like LeBron James is if we even just take like that out, which we can't, but like he's 6'9", 250 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a huge human being.
Yes.
Like how the fuck? I mean, we can't just assume he doesn't know how to fight just because we think basketball players are pussies.
Well, and that's where you get in the idea of, and this is always the fun argument I like hearing from jiu-jitsu people and then even MMA people, is the idea of what constitutes the idea of a fight.
Yeah.
You know, if you step into a cage, well, you have rules.
Right.
So are you competing in a fight, or is this a sporting event with rules and regulations? A fight to some people is anywhere, anytime, any place.
Right.
You know, you could be at the bar and some dude takes a pool stick. That's a fight.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're wrong. And I also don't disagree with the idea that MMA is a fight. I absolutely think that's a fight.
Right.
But what's funny is when you get jiu-jitsu guys that say, like, a jiu-jitsu match is not a fight. I'm like, if you've ever really had to dig down, like, you feel like you are fighting to win.
Yeah.
And so it's very relative.
Right.
And that's why I think it's funny. It's like, at the end of the day, this argument is, it's one of those fantasy conversations. It's like,
yeah, it's just a fun conversation. Dude,
it's like Tyson versus Ali in their prime. Who'd win? It's like those kind of like fantasy matchups that you'll never probably see. You'll never see them, actually. Not
Yeah.
you never see
You
them.
never will see it. You'll never see this one either.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so crazy how people get in their feelings. I think I've gained a newfound respect for basketball players after one, watching that documentary.
Yeah.
And then two, also I read Kobe's book, Mamba Mentality. Just to hear like the way he approached the game and like how physical the game actually can be.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, dude, these are large humans. They just look normal because they're all standing next to each other.
Right.
They're fucking big as hell.
It's almost like when you see a room of Vikings, it's like, yeah, there's a small one, but when you realize a small one is 6'4" and 270, you're like, oh shit, that's the small.
Yeah, dude. There's like you're in there for 48 minutes. Like they're throwing elbows, like they're pushing, they're grabbing.
Yeah.
Like when you got a big ass man running at you full speed and then going airborne, like dude, there's force there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I think I just gained a new appreciation for these guys because they are athletes, and it's not like like the things that they do will it can translate. You know, footwork, handwork.
Right.
Fucking boxing out is hip control. Like
for sure.
if that doesn't apply to like in the clinch, then I don't know what would.
I agree.
So it's just like I just don't know, man. I just don't know.
And it almost breaks down, like, you know, going back to jiu-jitsu, like you always have mechanics that make moves.
Right.
You know, it's like just moving your hips could be one of 1,000 entries for a different opportunities. Could be an armbar, could be a sweep, could be standing up. So, like, just the idea that they understand those mechanics in one facet doesn't mean that they can't apply it to another.
Right. I think people just want to assume that just because he's a basketball player, which, you know, a lot of basketball players, they should get Oscars. Because those fools.
Or I was going to say soccer players.
Soccer players,
You ever see that gif of the guy who gets flicked in the ear and he dives down and
he
grabs
dives
his knee?
down. Dude, yeah.
To his knee.
I think I saw one dude who, like, I think somebody tried to hit him and he even missed. And then he just, like, he was like, oh, shit.
My favorite one was where I saw this highlight and it had a comparison of like male soccer players and then it had female rugby players. And on the one hand, I'm like, these are kind of apples and oranges, guys. It's not tit for tat for a number of reasons, but I did appreciate it where, like, at one point it looked like and I could be completely wrong, but it looked like Lindenwood's women's rugby team, and they're straight gut checking these girls, and then hand it up, opposite team. All right, get back in there, pat each other on the ass, and they go back and play.
Yeah.
And then you see the guy with flick.
It's so funny.
It's hilarious. They're busting noses and stuff.
Dude, there was a clip going around one time for Lindenwood. I don't know if it was a soccer player or a rugby player. It was this girl. I think it was soccer, maybe. Like
I might be thinking soccer. It's been like 3-4 years
either
since
way,
I've seen that
she
clip.
got like busted and she had like blood going down her head.
That was the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so same clip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if it was soccer or rugby. Maybe it was rugby. I just remember.
Either way,
she
I
was
just remember it was
she
very
was
big
tough as
LU
nails.
black and gold, and I'm like, I don't know too many other universities that have that
it was
exact
Lindenwood.
font, letter,
Yeah.
color. I think that's our girls, right?
Yeah,
I think
dude.
that's St. Louis right there.
That's the alma mater, baby.
Exactly.
You went there too?
I did not. No, I always wanted to, but I ended up. I was one of those dorks that right out of high school, I just went right to work.
Oh,
So,
good move, dude.
I mean, in a lot of ways, yeah.
It is a real good move, dude. Like,
it's very interesting because there are times where I don't have the textbook education, but I've got like the experience of doing something.
yeah,
And so like I'll be doing a job, and then somebody else will like have like the bachelor's degree in the same industry, but I've had 10 years of experience.
yeah,
And it's really interesting where like we both like fill in the gap. Like in my opinion, like whenever you go to work at a job or something where you have two people that's the dynamic,
yeah.
I mean, just hire them both because they're both going to bring something unique to the table.
Right.
You know, one guy's got the experience of like, hey, listen, we've done this and we know what you're saying, but the other person, I feel like it's almost like street smarts versus book smarts in a lot of way.
Dude, yeah.
But-
I mean, I've went to school with people who water's right down there.
Oh yeah, there it is. I forgot. Thank you.
You're fine. Who do just fine in the school system, but you talk to them and like, oh, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like you're not very intelligent. You're just like book smart. You know?
Or they're almost too timid to actually make a move on stuff. That's what I've seen a lot is where they have all the knowledge and they're very well spoken, but they're almost stuck. And this is really ironic coming from me because I suffer from this a lot. Is that paralysis from analysis?
Yeah.
They overthink it too much and they don't make a move.
Right.
And sometimes like you have that confidence and experience to where you've done this 100 times before when you didn't know. And you're like, I just gotta fucking go.
Yeah, dude, that's just the only way to do it. Is just
Right.
do it. Yeah, that's so common for a lot of people. Though,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, dude.
I used to
But
say it was good for geniuses, but I think I was just making myself feel better.
but yeah, man, I might not even like. I'm not really even encouraging my son to go to college. To be honest with you, I think he'll do really good in college, but I think he'll do even better in life.
I honestly, I like the idea of, and this goes back a few years ago, that guy on Dirty Jobs where he talked, Mike Rowe.
Yeah, Mike Rowe.
Talked about the vocations and the trade schools, man. It's an
need him to
industry we need more of now.
More of that.
And it's one of those things where I feel like people have kind of pushed the traditional education system for so long that we almost forgot about those.
Yeah.
And so when you hear people, like, oh, you're a welder. Well, this guy is like a business guy. It's like, you think that the guy in the suit and tie is better off. I'm like, yeah, but the welder somehow doesn't have the same debt, doesn't have the same problems, isn't nearly as stressed out.
Yeah.
And he has a skill that is always in demand.
Dude, so we just remodeled this house over the last year, and working with just these different peoples in the trades, like man, they are killing it.
Yeah.
So many of those guys are just killing it. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of idiots in that trade too.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're just like, it's hard to even give some of those fuckers jobs, dude.
It is.
Like you call them and they're like, yeah, I'll be there, and then they don't show up, or
Yeah.
they just don't want to take the job for whatever reason. So
Don't drive me nuts, man.
dude, we went through probably because we got all the drywall hung up and we were taping mudding, and we had this one guy who was recommended to us. I was like, all right, he's kind of like a friend of the gym. He's cool.
Yeah.
No, bro, we ended up paying him some, and then he never showed back. He never showed up. He's kept making all these excuses. I finally lost my fucking shit on him and said probably the worst things I could ever say to a human.
Man.
I felt really bad for a little bit, but now I don't. I was like, fuck that guy. And then I probably went through another 5 or 6 people until I finally could give somebody the job. I'm like, oh my God, this shouldn't be this hard to hire somebody. But the ones who do it, man, those guys are killing it.
I'll tell you what, when you come to contracting, people that know how to do mudding and taping, they're saints. Because that is not an easy job at all.
No, it's like, it's not complicated, but it's like the skill.
So damn tedious
Dude,
and skillful.
And they move so fast.
Yeah,
They're
you have to,
good.
because that is not an easy. Like, you could get stuck there for hours doing that if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they have that down to, like, it's like boxers. It is a sweet science.
It really is. And they make it nice and flat. And
Yes.
It's just like, man, you fuck up your shit if you don't know what you're doing.
There was a couple guys I worked with years ago. I've done a couple part-time jobs here and there. But one of the 2 contractor jobs I worked at, there was a team, and they were both brothers, and they did mudding and taping.
Okay.
And it was literally like they would just like paper, rock, scissors, who got what. But they were both so good at it, they didn't mind doing it. And so a lot of it was like, okay, what do you feel like doing today? I don't really feel like mudding. All right, I'm just going to do the taping then. All right, fine. So
Yeah, man. Teamwork makes the dream work.
exactly. And they would, I mean, I can't even remember some of the projects where you're thinking, oh man, it's like a 4-hour job. And like an hour and a half later, like, hey, you want anything for lunch? We're done. Like, how'd you do this?
Dude, yeah. Well,
I'm just picking up trash. I just got, how?
on that same note, dude, though, whenever they start quoting you, they're going to tell you it's going to take way longer than it does.
Yeah.
I hate that shit. They're like, oh, it's going to take 4 days. And it takes them, they might come over 4 days, but it takes them like 2 hours every day.
Yeah.
Some of it, I get it, they got to wait and different things.
I think there's a lot of other variables, but as far as like actual physical work, it's not 4 24-hour days. But
It's barely any work.
on the flip side, if they would have told you it took 2 days and then they took 5, you'd be like, what the fuck are you guys still doing here?
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. I just think so they can quote you more is all it is.
There's probably a little bit of that.
There's a little bit of that.
There's a little bit of that.
Man, but so you have kids though. Are you gonna push them into college? You think?
You know, I'm going to see how they both do. I think right now my son is the kind where he does really well academically. My daughter just started kindergarten.
Okay.
So I don't really know where she wants to go.
Still
but
early
she's
to figure it out.
Yeah, but she loves learning. So I would not be surprised if she goes more academic. But they're both fairly physical. Like they love getting outdoors. My son's about to do his first jiu-jitsu tournament in October.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I'm very excited. And he's also dragged my ass out too. So I'm going to call myself out. I'm going to compete in October for the first time in like 10 years.
Dude, that'd be dope. My son AJ and I, we went to Colombia and competed.
Yeah?
Like, I don't know, like a year and a half ago. It was so fun to do it together.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting because was it like a Fuji or?
Yeah, it was a Fuji.
Okay, cool. Because that's what we're doing in October.
Okay.
What's awkward though is I also for 5 weekends every year I work at the Renaissance Festival for my mom's booth, and so that's the last weekend of fair, which is always the busiest. So we're gonna have to go compete and then bolt to go work.
Right. That's going on right now, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. This last weekend was 2 of 5.
Dang.
And it's fun. It's interesting with all the regulations they have with COVID. I'm actually really curious how they're going to do it with Fuji, but I mean, thankfully I know some of the guys that work it, so I could kind of ask them like, hey, what's the rules of spectators and masks and all that stuff?
Yeah.
I'm sure they have it on the website. I just have not looked at it yet today. So
Everyone's gonna be different. I worked at AGF when they came.
oh yeah,
And yeah, I mean, it wasn't as big of a crowd, but I mean, it was chill.
I really like, especially when you can get stuff like it used to be very few and far between where you would see stuff here in St. Louis and around the area. Like you had to travel
Oh yeah.
to compete, and so it's so cool. Like now we live in an age where you've got your Fujis and your AGFs and all the other ones out there that can actually like come through and put on a good show.
Yeah, it used to just be Naga.
Yeah, I did.
Naga was
Which
it.
is funny because like that was like the dirtiest N word in jiu-jitsu.
I still don't like Naga.
I know I don't like Naga either, but
Dude, they came in to town. I think it was maybe the last time they came in the town. I signed up my son, and I was just like, "This is the worst experience ever." None of the workers were friendly. They acted like you're trying to get over on them, and then the refs were fucking rude as hell. Like,
Yeah.
I just was not. I'm just like, nope, never again. Fuck you, Naga.
I competed
Fuck
in-
you, Naga. Hope you're listening. Save your fucking belts and
That was one of the
swords.
only reasons
The belts
I-
and swords are the coolest thing.
I was just gonna say the same thing. I'm like, that is one reason I really kind of want to compete in Naga because I want that belt.
Yeah.
So Fuji, if you're listening, belts.
Belts.
Medals are great.
Belts.
Everybody has that vision of doing like The Rock or the Hulk Hogan with your championship.
Who doesn't want to do that, bro? That's the best.
Show up on a Monday with your belt like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Dude, and what kid doesn't want to win a sword?
No shit.
Dude, I think Naga did get that right, man. Those are some cool ass things. You know, you just gotta hire nicer people.
I feel like one of those two just needs to buy Naga.
Yeah.
Just take him out.
Go ahead, just take. I mean,
You know the one I always I remember watching videos of years ago when I first got into jiu-jitsu, but I never competed in one was Grappler's Quest. I don't even know if they're still around anymore.
I don't know if they were either. It's a good
They were like
question.
the big dogs though, and I feel like they were always coastal. I don't remember them doing too much in the Midwest.
Oh.
I don't think
know.
they ever came through St. Louis. I could be wrong.
I don't really know, man. I didn't really even start getting super hip until probably the last like 4 or 5 years as far as jiu-jitsu tournaments are concerned. Because I was just so focused on MMA.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I never only tournaments I really did were like in-house tournaments and different things.
Yeah.
I never did a whole lot of competing.
See, my thing is I've always kind of sucked at competition. I said this before. I like competing. I suck at competing, but I just don't do it enough. So I can't even say I suck. I'm not acquired. I'm not initiated to that world.
Yeah,
you know?
it's its own thing, man.
Yeah, I love the experience though. I hate training for it,
Yeah.
but I love training.
Yeah.
So it's that middle ground of like I love training. I actually do like competing. I don't like training to compete because that's where like all the injuries happen. It's like everything hurts.
It's another level of intensity. I don't mind
Yes.
training at that intensity. I just don't like competing, to be honest with you.
Really, I can see that.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of validation from it, and I don't
That's
know.
fair.
I don't know if it's just because I could, fought for so long, and just the number of psychedelics. It's just like my ego doesn't get.
That's fair.
Doesn't get anything from it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do Pan Am's here coming up 2 weeks.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
man.
down in Orlando. So that should
Good
be
stuff.
fun.
We got a lot of guys that are going down. Actually, there's some people cutting weight right now for it. So
See, fuck that. I'm not cutting weight. I'm competing at 207, and I'm
that's
like.
literally what I'm walking around at right now.
I'm at like 195 right now, so like I'm going up.
Nice.
I just don't
Good for
want.
you.
I don't want to cut weight.
See, my thing is, I'm walking around like 205, 207 on any given day, but I know I feel better at 185.
Yeah,
I've always felt my best at 185. I've been heavier, I've been lighter.
85 or 95.
85.
Okay.
Or whatever that weight class is. I forget where it is in IBJJF or Fuji, but
I think it's 85.
I think it is too. That's what, like 86. They do the kilos thing, so I always
Yeah.
forget what they are. But I always felt fast, strong, and conditioned at 185 because I've done 170 and I did 155 once. 55, I felt fast, but I had no gas and I had no strength, but I had speed and I was okay there. So I was even watching old matches of myself and at that weight, and I'm like, I had a fucking war one time.
You're a little dude.
I was little. Well, and I made a big cut that year. It was like almost cutting from 180 to 155.
Is it even worth it?
I don't think it was.
No.
I mean, I will say it was nice because there were some times where I did feel like I had a little bit of a size advantage, but at the same time, like I didn't have conditioning on my side. So, you have the size and the strength to a point, but like, what's the point of it if you have no gas?
Yeah.
It's like a dead car sitting in the yard.
Doesn't matter.
Right. And so for me to like say, okay, when I think I've also just put on a little extra weight that I just probably could get rid of anyway.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think like, when I did the math on it and I do like the body compositioning, getting my ass in shape to even if it were 190, 195, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking 5-10 pounds top difference. That's just water weight at that point. If I woke up and stepped on the scale and I was 195 and that was the weight class, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
But if I can get to 185, I know that historically I perform better there.
Really?
And it's this kind of like nice middle between the small guys and the big guys, I feel.
Yeah.
So that 170 to 185
Yeah.
range seems to be the perfect mid ground.
Yeah.
Because then you get a little size, you can kind of like, hold your own against those big dudes. And I feel like I also got injured less when I did takedowns at a heavier weight.
Mm.
Like little guys, they'll just pull guard.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not going to get thrown.
That's true. That's true.
Of course, watch like if I ever do an absolute division, I'll get a 140
Like
black belt in judo who's like an Olympic medalist and chucks me on my
a
head.
savage wrestler. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Like a Greco guy or something.
Oh, that's
likes to put people on their head.
That's the worst, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, dude, you said something interesting because like I was just talking about this with somebody. Like there is a difference between like being in shape and like being conditioned.
Yes.
Like, dude, you have to be in fucking condition.
Yeah.
To compete. You really, because the intensity is just so much higher.
Oh yeah.
There's just so much tension. Everyone's going as hard as they can. I think that's also what I don't really like. It's just like I don't want to go that hard. Like I like training hard, but like when you're in there, I've noticed where injuries come from is when both sides are just giving everything they have and there's just tension on both sides.
Yeah.
Like if I'm training and like somebody is really trying to force something, like I kind of give a little bit and absorb their energy.
You have to.
Because if I fight my energy with their energy, usually something gets pulled. You know what I mean? Like something's getting hurt and something gets stretched.
Yeah, because
like,
then it's almost like just two bulls going at it. You
Exactly.
You have to give way a little bit to open up space.
Right. So it's like, when you're competing though, there's no one's giving up shit.
For sure.
So it's like, man, I get out of there like my fucking fingers were hurt, my forearms will be burned out. I'm just like, is this worth it? I don't even feel good right now. Even if you win.
One of my favorite memories, because I love my grip work, and one of my favorite memories of like getting ready for a competition is I had done so much like grip training because I didn't want my hands to give out, right? And so I was doing finger stuff, I was doing like grippers, but I never trained the open.
Yeah.
I was train the close, so I had like these alligator hands where like they'll clamp down hard, but they will not open for shit.
Yeah.
And so one time I had this really deep cross collar choke on a guy, and he tapped, and I let go, and I couldn't open my hand because all the blood had been pumping through this area.
Yeah, dude.
And I'm like, hold on 1 second. I'm like prying my fingers out. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
That's funny. Yeah, dude.
I'm like smacking my arm. God damn it, no.
Yeah, dude. Those things get full of fucking blood. It's
yeah.
It's tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's why you got to do those like contrast baths where you like dive them in hot water, dive them in cold, and just kind of like get the circulation going.
Dude, I keep saying I'm going to do it. I'm going to get some buckets and fill it up with rice so I can start working more of my extensors.
I've heard that's actually that's one thing I've never done, and I hear it's amazing going in there and just gripping and
just moving, just gripping and extending and stuff. I mean, everything at least with grappling, right, is like it's here.
Yeah,
everything is so tight, so it's like I gotta like work this other fucking.
That's one reason why I don't want to say I gave them up, but I switched over from doing like pull ups to chin ups because I realized most of your pulling motions in jiu-jitsu, you're gonna have this grip.
Oh,
you're very rarely ever here.
Oh, I'm here a lot.
Really?
I'm here.
I can see that for like spider guard and stuff.
I'm over. Well, just dude, I get that pocket grip, and then like I'll start putting my foot in your hip, and then because I just have a habit of being here. I really do. Because then I'll come here, and then I'll go to a cross collar, and I usually pull that in.
Yeah.
And I sweep you.
Well, see, I can see it, but even there, you still get that one, right? So even there, you're kind of.
Oh, this one's yeah, on that collar.
Yeah, it's funny now that I say that. Like I'm thinking like maybe that's just my game.
Maybe it could just be your game.
It might just be me.
It could be your game. You know, we all have our own game. That's the beauty of jiu-jitsu, man. I've been teaching it so much, and it's always so interesting when somebody, like, they want you to have, like, the right answer. I'm just like, I have a answer for you. Like, this is how I do it. Like, it may not be Like there's other ways to do it. There's
I
not
think
just one way to do anything.
I think that is the answer, is to have a answer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
You
have
can-
a answer.
Yeah, I have an answer that might address this, but understand that there's 100 others.
Dude, there's like a million.
Yeah.
What about this? What about this? What about this? Like, dude, you could say we could do that about anything.
Yeah.
There's like a million alternatives to what could be happening right now.
That's one reason why, like, if you ever get a seminar with like Hoyler or someone like that, they always give that, like, well, you can,
Yeah.
or maybe, hey, how do you get out of this move? Man, just don't let it happen.
That's a good one.
And I love it when it
don't get
drives. It's so funny. It drives white belts nuts.
Yeah.
It drives blue belts nuts. And everybody, I think, has that frustrating answer of like, well, no shit, but like, what's the answer? Well, that was the answer. Just if how do you get out of a triangle? Well, how did you get there?
Right.
How did you get this one in and one out grip, and then your posture broken down, and you go, oh shit, lock.
Yeah. Both in or both out.
Yeah,
buddy.
and so it's like it's one of those maturity answers that you have to like. I can give you a technique, but I don't want you to rely on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to have the defense on how to get out of something,
Yeah.
but yeah, just don't get there.
Right.
It really is, and eventually that's the whole move. It's just like you can recognize what's about to happen.
Yes.
Or you can start shutting shit down before it can happen.
What's really fun is when you take that same concept and start applying that to like business.
Yeah.
When you like, I joked all the time for the years, like in a corporate job, I'd have like this big project due and I'm hammering away at it, but I'm chill. And I was like, why are you not stressing out over this? I'm like, dude, I pay a fee every month to have fucking gorillas smash me in the gym. I do this voluntarily.
Yeah.
I go wrestle with 200-pound giants in pajamas, and they try to choke me and rip my arms and legs off here. You think a fucking Excel sheet scares me right now?
Right. Dude.
I mean, yeah, I'm a little nervous, and I feel the pressure to get it done, but that's not a fear. That's a drive. That's a accountability thing, right?
Right.
You have a deadline.
Yeah.
And so I'm motivated to get it done, but I'm not like the world will not end if this doesn't happen. If I have to say, email a client, and go, hey man, we're running numbers right now. This is where we're at. I need a couple more hours to get this done, or can you give me one more day to validate this with some people? So many people are so cool in that setting where they're like, yeah, that's fine. I'd rather you get it done right.
Right.
Or like in contracting, hey man, we're going to install your kitchen cabinets, but we got to do some work to like make sure we can support them right.
Right.
It might take an extra day. Is that okay? Like people appreciate that honesty.
Yeah.
And because you see that coming now, because you've been in that pocket before, you're like, oh shit, this is going to take a minute.
Right. Yeah, dude, people legitimately fear like the world's going to end if
Yeah.
they don't meet a deadline or something.
Yeah.
But hardly any deadline is ever met. Like
It really, right.
in like most things, there's some cushion built in there, or that is one of the things I don't like.
That's why you overquote
With
that way. Going back to that one, right?
Overquote. Yeah, dude, for real. Like with school, man, like it's these particular parameters, and we're essentially just creating like factory workers. Like we don't teach kids how to think, and I'm kind of torn with this whole virtual thing right now because like my kids have been going to virtual learning,
Right.
and they're actually going to start going back to school part time pretty soon, which would be cool.
Yeah.
But it's like I like that they have to be a little bit more responsible right now with their
Right.
timing and just what's the word I wanted to use? I don't fucking know what the word I wanted to use was, Mike.
I was gonna say accountability jumped out in my head. But I don't know if that's
Accountability
what you're
is
going for.
no accountability. Oh, time management. There we
Okay,
go.
yeah,
They gotta have better time management. Accountability is there,
Yeah.
right? It's like no one's holding their hand. Obviously, like we're here to make sure they're doing their shit, and the teachers are on
Sure.
the other end. But like you don't have that constant little thing right there. Like you
Yeah.
really have to do it. So there is something for that.
Yes.
But a lot of school, man, it's just like there's these deadlines, and it's like, oh nope, you didn't do it right, you failed, and it's just like. There's like life isn't that simple.
It's really not.
or not that black and white. It's like it doesn't really teach people how to be successful in life.
I don't think it
oftentimes.
does at all.
Yeah.
When things started shutting down back in March, there were a couple times where my son had to do virtual learning even back then. Like, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just
at the end of
finishing out the school year.
Yeah, we did too.
And so it was funny because we would get in there and I'm thinking, man, we got to go through all this stuff. So I'm allocating like 3 hours of my morning to help him get started. And sometimes we would go do a couple errands and come back. And we were blowing through 2, 3, 4 days of work in an hour.
Yes.
And I was blown away. I'm like, should I be dragging this out a little bit more? But
Yeah.
at the same time, it forced him to understand that, one, you don't have to drag this out. If you just get it done, you're done.
Yeah.
And so then he realized, wait, if I hammer this down and I get this done and it's correct, I got more time to go explore other things.
Yes.
And so, maybe that was like go play outside. Maybe it was go work on a game. Maybe I would give him some tablet time or some TV time.
Yeah.
Or, hey, if you get this done, we can go get lunch a little earlier and
Yeah.
then go play over here. And
Yeah.
so we would have those little games now. And at the same time, I'm like right next to him on my laptop getting my shit done.
dude.
So it was really kind of fun to have, like, I've got my work stuff, he's got his work stuff, and we're just chilling almost like what you see people at a Starbucks
Yeah,
doing their home business stuff.
dude, it's the way of the future,
I
man.
think it really is. And I will say it opened up my eyes a little bit to, one, there really is no excuse to have the kind of stress with those deadlines. Because if you could just do this all through Google Classroom, and once I saw that, I'm like, why don't we do this more? Like, why are
Yeah,
we still wasting the paper? Like, if I could just say, hey, deploy this to your email. Or, like, if you do waste the paper on it and say, hey, print this out. Oh, I lost it. Well, it's on your account.
right,
Click, click, click. You're done.
right.
We had that happen a couple of times where Jack meant to turn in some work. We couldn't find the paper, so we print it and do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's just like we create these we just create these parameters that you have to stick within.
Yeah.
Like the whole idea, like whenever I was working the corporate job, it's like this whole idea of you have to be at work for 40 hours.
Right.
Dude, I would probably waste 25 of those hours a week.
Oh, I'm sure everybody does.
Because it's like I'd get my fucking work done
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, all right, I'm done, and then now I'm just wasting time.
Yeah.
I'm just like wasting my day to try to look busy, to try to, it's like, dude,
Man,
but I'm more productive than everybody else, so why are you on my ass right now?
yeah, I had that happen at a couple jobs where I would like, and some of it was like, it just wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't stimulating to me, but there was a certain point where I just kind of asked, like, why are we doing it this way?
Yeah.
And because I wanted to question, like, why is this process this way? Well, nobody wanted to answer that because they're like, well, we just got to get the work done.
Yeah.
So we don't have time to talk about this. You got to get this done. I'm like, right, but this doesn't seem efficient.
Right.
And so I would still work my ass off and would still get things done, but I would see people at different corporate jobs where they're murdering themselves trying to keep up, and they have like all these clients they got to answer and all these people that are counting on them. And then you have like they're also the seniors, so they have to like train all the people underneath them, and then I have to allocate time for that. And I'm like, you've got a whole team of people, and you can't tell me that every one of us is maxed out to capacity where they can't offload some of that tedious shit.
Right.
Like, if you really look, like, that's, like you said, teamwork, right?
Right.
If you've got, like, new people, well, they're learning these, like, new people tasks here. Let's give them, like, all of that. Let's keep them busy here. What are the senior tasks that you need to work on? What are
Right.
the meetings you need to have? How do we, like,
Yeah.
and it was funny because, like, the last two corporate jobs I have, they all thrived on delegating. Because, like, okay, we got to implement this thing here. Okay, well, that has to go to IT, or you have to go to a program. Okay, we'll kick that shit over there. And it was just basically task management.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so there's not really a whole lot of, like, you still have to have the knowledge to do it, but, like, I'm not coding.
Right.
I'm not creating these crazy images. I'm not doing all the shit. I'm just making sure that people get their shit done.
Yeah. It's project management. It's
Yeah.
leadership for sure.
Exactly, which is cool, but, like, I still come back to, like, come on, man, do we really need to fucking stress over it like this?
Yeah, don't stress over that shit. When's the last time you've had a corporate job?
Last year.
Oh, last
Yeah,
year?
last year.
Oh, damn. Dang. Are you back to doing, you're like building your business
Back
again,
to
right?
full-time coaching, and
Yeah.
actually, I just started doing nutrition counseling.
Oh, nice.
So I do, I don't know if it's counseling is the right word. I think coaching is a better word.
Yeah.
So I started the certification back in 2017 when I had my gym. And after the gym closed, I couldn't find the materials. So cleaning out the basement, something made me think of it the other day, or not the other day, but like months ago. And so something got me thinking about that course. And I'm like, yeah, I started that course, but I don't think I ever finished it. And so I started looking through the stuff in the basement. I found the materials. And went, oh shit, like the book and everything was still in the plastic. Not only that, it was still in the original shipped box, unopened. Like, it was still taped.
Oh, shit.
Like, they could have sent it yesterday. You would have never known the difference.
That's funny.
And so I opened it up. I got my login out. I'm like, is this still good? I'm emailing support. They're like, yeah, we just reset your password. You're all set.
Oh,
So
nice.
went through, banged it out. And then I've been loading people into that software. And it's great because it's through Precision Nutrition, which I love their philosophy. It's very habit-based. It's not like, okay, eat this, eat not that. They want you to understand, why do we eat these things?
Yeah.
And so if you understand like what you're trying to go for, and it doesn't matter if it's like vegetarian or vegan or just, whatever diet you're on or whatever system you want to use, it's understanding the quality of the nutrition, saying, okay, we have these things that provide these nutrients, these things that provide these building blocks. Now that you know this, now let's start working on the habits to learn how to teach you to build better structures for yourself.
Right.
And I like that habit approach where it's not like I'm just giving you a meal plan and say, here
Right.
you go.
Right. Yeah, it's like you're actually trying to educate people. And
Yes.
you're trying to. Yeah, you're definitely there's behavior coaching there.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
And that's why I love that system, and how I use their software called Pro Coach, where if I add you to my system, it gives you those habits daily. So you have to check in. You can log your food. You can track your measurements.
Yeah.
I can deploy workouts from there.
Nice.
So that's where, like, when everything went south, it was somebody had given me the idea. It was a good friend of mine, George. He threw the idea out of like everybody's pivoting to online workouts, but no, not many people are doing nutrition.
Yeah.
And I thought about it from being like, yeah, actually that's golden. And then we had this race to get it done. He passed his course. He went and registered for it and then raced me to get it done. And I bombed miserably. Like he beat my ass on the timeline.
Yeah.
But I still got it done. And once I got it done, I felt actually it was like, man, I really should have like buckled down on this sooner.
Yeah. It was, dude, once you finish something, you're like, why didn't I do that sooner?
I had that thought the entire and some of it was like just let my day get ahead of me and like
Yeah.
you get done at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night and you're like you're just gassed. You don't want to bang out an hour of
Oh, yeah, your brain's fried.
yeah, it's like there was nothing there. But when I look back at it and all going back to the experience versus the book work,
Yeah.
I had this big thick textbook from Precision Nutrition on this is all of our stuff and all of our coaching and whatever. I opened that book twice.
Yeah.
And I think it was just to look up a vocabulary term, and
Yeah.
that was it. And I'm like, oh shit, I knew.
How
that.
much of what they're teaching is actually accurate and up to date?
I think it's actually fairly accurate and up to date. I really do. And because like again, a lot of it is just it's the basic groundwork philosophy. Like, what is a protein?
Yeah.
You know, what are carbs? What are let's talk
Right.
about what does it mean to get vegetables in your diet, and what does that do for you?
Yeah.
So is it like the most cutting edge? Maybe, maybe not. But
Yeah.
is it something where if somebody were to start here, they're going to be better off? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because some people just don't have an idea. They're like, they're still the
Right.
assholes that are like, I don't say assholes, but fuck, I'm gonna say assholes.
Yeah.
They're the assholes. Well, I had a salad at McDonald's once.
Right.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, man. I when I did the fitness and nutrition certification through ACE, like I'm doing it. I'm just like, but I'm doing it in mind knowing that not all of this information is up to date and correct.
Yes.
Because, dude, it can take 20 to 30 years for current science to get into academia.
Absolutely.
So it's just like some of the stuff is just so antiquated and outdated.
And well, and that's one of those things that's a little different with some of those off the road certifications because while they may get into like schools and colleges, as far as like unique certifications, you could come up with your own stuff tomorrow and
Yeah.
certify people.
Yeah, you could.
And so I think that's why they're always going to be a little bit more up to date. But at the same time, they still have to systemize it, and that does take time. So we're, like you said, 20, 30 years for science to get into academia. Here it might be 5 to 10, but you're still 5 to 10 past the ball.
Yeah, you're still late.
But you're still better than the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it can all just be so old. I remember doing that even whenever I was doing my personal training certification. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm never going to use this methodology. But all these certs are good for marketing.
I think so. And I think if you don't have any knowledge, I think it at least gives you a base.
Yeah, if
You
you don't
know.
know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's a great example, especially in our world, the whole Gracie Combatives online.
Yeah.
It gives you a good understanding. Is it as good as actually getting to a gym? No, but they'll even say that.
Certainly not.
They-
Yeah.
They'll say that like boldface on the thing. This is for people that do not have access down the road or within 20 miles of a school.
Yeah.
So just to give you something, and they even say you still need a partner to drill.
Yeah, yeah. And at the end of the day, man, you can make it as complicated or as simple as you want,
Of
especially with
course.
nutrition, right? I mean, most people try to make it too complicated.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, whenever I talk to people about nutrition, like I feel like there's kind of two methodologies when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to it. Like you have like your bakers and you have your chefs. Is kind of how I always talk about it.
Okay.
Like your bakers, they need to know how much.
Yeah.
Like what and how much.
I like
and
this
when.
analogy.
And then it's like because when you're baking a cake, like the measurements matter, and you have to go by
Yeah.
the book. And like if people want me to tell you, like you want me to tell you what to eat and how much to eat, like I'm not your fucking guy. I'm not. I can't.
Exactly.
But it's like if you want to talk about options, like what's available, like I'm all about like especially with health and nutrition, like you need to learn your body. Like
Right.
you need to learn to listen to your body.
Yes.
And you got to figure out what works for you because what works for me may not work for you. So it's an experiment always, man. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you try something, it's like, oh, I do like that or I don't like that, and then you're it's a living document essentially.
Yeah.
You're always trying to figure this out.
Yeah, I agree. And I've said this a bunch of times, I know for sure. And it's funny you said baking and chef, or baker and a chef, because I've said before, like, baking is a science.
Yeah.
You got to have exact measurements at the right time with the right conditions to get the right meal.
Right.
Being a chef, that's art.
Yeah, dude. It's
You
like
can create.
like this sounds good. This tastes good. This smells good.
Yeah.
Let me try this.
That's where you get the people that have like, these apple glazed, steaks. And you're like, what the fuck? Then why would you come up with that? And you try it like, that's fucking amazing.
Right.
How did you get this?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. So it's just like that's how I like to approach things.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. And that's one of the reasons why I like coaching the concepts of like here's like the basic building blocks here.
Right.
And then I might even throw a couple recipes and say, hey, here's something you could try.
Right.
But I'll be honest, like the last time I think I followed a recipe to a T, I don't remember. Like I'll look at it for like a rough guideline on stuff just so I don't like over flavor one thing or another, especially the first couple times I do it.
Yeah.
After that, I'm just like, I fucking got this.
Figure it. Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
even measure it.
Dude, me neither. I don't measure shit, man. I'm just like, oh, this smells good. All right, yeah, I think that's enough. Like,
Yeah,
you just figure it out, man. It's a
exactly.
process, trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never been that type who just needs to know exactly what and how much.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
so common.
there are situations for that for sure. Like, especially with like athletes, like if you're in a weight based sport and you have to make weight at a certain time, you need to track that stuff, especially if you're having a hard time
Yeah.
hitting stuff. I can see where that has an effect, but again, if you're listening to your body and you're performing well and you're doing what you need to do, like I've said this before, like just talking about this a couple weeks ago at the gym, not jujitsu, but I don't remember ever having a hard time making weight,
Yeah.
and I don't remember measuring anything out.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure I did at some point, but I don't remember the last time I did.
Right. I just kind of keep track. I
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, I think if you're going to like keep track of things or measure things out, I think it's good to do it for like in the beginning, maybe for a certain period of time, just to get an idea.
Yeah.
Because eventually you do something enough, it's like shit. I've measured out 4 ounces of chicken enough. I can probably look at that and just know.
Yes.
Right, and it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, I know how I feel whenever I have this or that. And it's just like, just get an idea, but you can't rely on the data. Some people get
Yeah.
so data driven that they get stuck
Yeah.
on the data even.
Absolutely, and that's and to a point, I'm glad those methods are out there for those people.
For sure.
Because if that's your learning style, then that's how you need to approach it. But when I hear people saying like, "Hey, you need to have like 1.785 liters of water, and not an ounce more," I'm like, "What the fuck? Why?"
Yeah. Like, what if I'm
And
not
then I'm like, "How did you get that number?"
Yeah, yeah, for real. And I think sometimes like you need to do like you need to eat and you need to like hydrate based off your activity level. Like
Absolutely.
if you're more active today, then maybe eat some more food, drink some more water.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just like not doing shit today, then maybe you only have one meal today.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
like,
I've heard that before too, where you eat based on what is it? Eat based on what you're going to do or what you just did.
yeah,
So like if you know you're going to be doing like a heavy marathon, yeah, the night before, carb up for sure.
For sure.
But if you're going to go train jujitsu, yeah, you probably need some carbs in you. If you just got done weightlifting, yeah, you get some protein in you.
yeah,
But if you're not doing shit, you don't need a whole birthday cake to yourself.
yeah, for real.
You don't need that anyway. But
No, you don't.
No.
Sounds good though, man. Damn, I haven't had cake in a minute. Are you doing 75 hard still?
I am, and I actually just called myself out because I failed yesterday. I forgot my second workout.
Bro.
But you know what? I'm glad because it's one of those things where one I'm happy to call myself out because it is a process.
Yeah.
And I was listening to I think it was David Goggins. Yeah, it was David Goggins. And he was talking about when he had a hard time understanding something, he would write it out excessively until he just mastered it.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? If I have to do this 2-3 times to get it down, I mean, this time I made it a couple of days in, but I will say it is kind of funny on the app where he says, hey, you know what? You failed. No sugarcoating it. But great chance is you get a new chance to start over and try it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like the fact that like you do get a little ribbing from the app and from Andy Frisella through the app, but it's like, okay, I get what you're going with this, but it is nice to know like, yeah, you bombed, but you know what? It's not the end of the world.
It's definitely not the end of the world, man. Eventually something just clicks and you just do it.
Yeah, and I think for me I was doing a really good job about getting that workout early in the morning. This is what killed me is the Ren Fair season because I was so exhausted. I didn't sleep that great Saturday night going into Sunday, and so I was gonna and I figured I was walking around. I'm like, yes, I had to do at least 45 minutes of walking around there. So I'm like, not quite a workout, but it was outdoors. It was 45 minutes of activity. I mean, I could probably chalk that one up there for a session, right? And like almost like fasted cardio thing. But then I'm like, man, let's just call it what it is. I didn't fucking do it.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, at least you're honest with yourself, dude.
And I kept rationalizing it in my head. And finally, at one point, I heard the question go, look, bottom line, did you do it or not? Yes or no?
Right. Yeah, dude, that's the truth, man. We try to rationalize things
Yes.
and like, say, oh, that was it, or dude, it's so easy. But if you're just like what's harder? Whichever decision's harder, do that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I failed yesterday on phase 1.
Yeah.
Like, I just straight up chose not to do shit, to be honest with you.
And there are those days.
I was so fucking exhausted. We just got back from camping, and I'm just like, dude, like, fuck it. I'm just gonna lay on this couch all day today. Like,
Yeah.
I'm consciously gonna fail today.
Right.
Like, I just don't want to fucking do it.
And again, that's why I'm like, because of that same thing, I had an argument. I don't know an argument, but it was a discussion with somebody where, we were trying to handle some business stuff, and like when you're looking for a simple answer, and you get well, here's the thing, and it's going to be like another paragraph or a monologue after that. And you're like, I just want the fucking answer.
Yeah.
So when I found myself doing that to myself, I went, dude, no, the answer is no, you didn't do it.
Right. Yeah.
And if you could just say that and say, let's just shut the shit up, just say, start over, go again.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I think that really, at the end of the day, the program is just about recognizing your own bullshit.
Again, I agree. I 100% agree with you on that one.
Yeah, and just like not accepting it.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm almost hard to live with because of that. Because it's like I don't accept my bullshit, so sometimes I'm not as kind as I probably should be with my girlfriend.
Yeah, I've had that happen a couple times too, where I'm like, I'm telling people, look, I just want a really simple answer, and if I need to ask more questions, that let me ask those questions, because sometimes, I'm not saying that you're trying to, not to use the term mansplaining, but like over-explaining.
Yeah.
I feel like people feel the need to do that more often than not. I'm like, I just wanted yes or no.
Yeah, like let's just cut the shit.
Yeah.
Let's just tell me how it is.
Like I can make educated guesses on where the other, like if you tell me yes or no, I can make an educated guess on how that tree built from there.
Yeah.
But if I say no, why? Okay, cool. That's all I needed.
Right.
But the thing, you're good.
Good, done.
Yeah, I don't need to know. Like, I just want to know how can I help you get back to work? How can I help you do better?
Yeah.
We got that answer? All right, cool. All right, good.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it definitely helps just to be more direct and just cut through the bullshit.
Yeah,
for sure, man.
and that's one thing I love about this, and even calling myself out. Like, we rationalize everything, and we have to over-explain everything to everyone to make us feel good. And sometimes you just have to own up the fact of, I didn't get it done. It kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world.
Right. Just go back to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like jiu-jitsu, you tapped. Fuck. All right, big deal.
Yeah.
How'd you tap? Well, guy got me in this. Well, how'd he get there? And you start going down that tree.
Yeah.
You can rationalize it later, but you still tapped.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, dude, nobody really cares.
Thank you.
For real. Like,
yeah.
Nobody really cares. It's like, that's almost the beauty in anything if you can take it with, like, the right context.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, especially with fighting, like, if you so many fighters, you lose and, you feel awful. Like, the world just fucking ended. But guess what? Like, nobody cares that you just lost.
For sure.
Like, all the people who are talking shit, they never mattered. And then all your friends and family, they love you anyway.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Nobody cares.
Even your opponent would probably grab you up and be like, hey, man, that was a tough fight. Good job.
Dude, I've had an opponent. I fought. He'll forever stick out in my mind. I fought an amateur Muay Thai fight, and the dude like bruised my sternum, fucked me up. Yeah, dude, he's a bad motherfucker, dude. he was like 6'6".
Oh damn!
Fucking just won TBAs, which is Thai Boxing Association, like the national champion. Like he just won the novice division the year before. Like
oh shit!
Dude knew how to fight. I'm just an MMA guy.
Yeah, he knew how to bang.
Yeah, so he fucked me up, and then afterwards we had a beer, and he was like the nicest fucking guy.
Yeah, I love stories like that. Where
Yeah,
it's like,
dude.
You even if there's a little trash talk ahead of time, you guys put all that aside and be like, look, we're human beings.
It's just all competition.
We're selling tickets. We know that.
That's it. Yeah, it was all good, but it's like at the end of the day, man, as shitty as I felt, like nobody cared. Like all my friends are still my friends.
Exactly.
Right, and it's just like with anything, it's like just save the excuses and just own your shit.
Exactly. And even if you go up there and try, like I know people who, you hear those stories of like the worst competitor in the room. But they still show up to practice. They still kick ass. They may not have any world titles or international medals of any kind on their side, not even local.
Yeah.
But they're a nice human being, and they're always there. Like, if they tap you, they pick you back up. You go again.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, it's just life, man. Shit happens.
Yeah. That's all it's about. That's something with, like, coaching and, like, always having been a competitor. It's like, fuck, man, I got to be the best for anybody to listen to me.
Right.
It's like, nah, man, it's like, this is just an art, man. We're all figuring it out. Like, I don't have to be a world champion to be
Some of the best coaches are in, like, those best coaches to me. I can't remember if I was talking to my dad about this once or – anyway, point is, to me, the best coaches are like barbecue joints. They're the hole in the wall with the like no sign on the door.
Yeah.
But they have like generations of knowledge at their disposal. Versus people like they're super corporate. And I mean, like, give you a great example. Everyone knows bandanas and super smokers.
Yeah.
Okay, but here in St. Louis we also know Pappies.
Right. Yeah, bro.
And so like it's not a national chain, but god damn are they good.
Yeah, one of the best in the country, man.
Yeah, and what's funny is I found out there's one that's opening out in St. Peter's, and I called my dad and went, motherfucker, you didn't tell me they were opening up right there.
The Pappies in
St.
Peter's? Oh, wow.
Oh, right over by right off of the highway to the right, where that little outlet mall is there.
Yeah.
Like QT? Mm-hmm. Over that way.
Oh, like Old St. Peter's.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, you didn't tell me it was down the street from the house.
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, I did. I'm like, dude, I got kids to feed. I can't be here all the time. They're down the street. I'll never leave. Dude, they better go to washing dishes and shit because
Yeah.
we're just gonna live there.
Well, bro, I mean, you're a barbecue guy. They might
I
need
do love
they
that
might
shit.
need like an assistant pit master or something.
You know what? If I am blessed enough to get that role, I'm gonna start a new cologne called Smoky Mike because it's just gonna be me.
Dude, all of their pit masters leave and like start their own fucking places.
It's because they're so damn good.
Yeah, I think Bogarts was them. I think
Mhm.
Sugarfire the guys used to work there at Pappy's.
Yep, you hear guys like down in Texas that used to work at Franklin's,
Oh,
and he's
dude,
like the brisket king.
I still haven't been there. I've been to Austin 5, 6 times. I
Yeah,
still have not been to Franklin's. I'm
I really
slacking.
want to go.
Really?
Well, and it's funny because there's a really awesome black belt down there, Paulo Brandao,
Mm-hmm.
and he's in Austin,
Okay.
and so I really want to get down and visit him.
He's
And
a
go to,
Umaita guy, right?
yeah,
Yeah. I think Tim Kennedy trains under him.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, super. Yeah, every year at when JW does jiu-jitsu camp, I do the brisket for them. And this last year, it was so funny. Paulo comes up. I'm like, "Hey, Paulo, how are you?" He goes, "Hey, my brother, how are you? Where's my brisket?" I was like, "It's in the fridge."
Dude, you kill it on the grill, man.
I love that shit, dude.
Yeah, it's such an art.
It is, and again, it's chef.
Yeah.
I love the cooking. If you told me, "Hey, you have to do it at this exact time," I would absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why I love barbecue so much. It's so free
Yeah.
and open.
You can just express yourself through
Yeah.
it. Some people are so good at it they got it down to a science.
Yeah.
But it's like, damn, man.
I found the best barbecue is the ones I'm actually the laziest on, where I don't monitor all this stuff. The only thing I care about is like if this temperature gets to this, or I'm sorry, if this meat gets to this temp by this time, it's a good time.
Like you don't overthink it.
Yeah, and the only reason I say by this time is like if we have people coming over, like let's say dinner's got to be ready at 6, well I gotta have the brisket done by 4,
Yeah.
and so I just reverse engineer there. If I don't have that deadline, I don't even fucking care. When's dinner? When it's done.
Whenever. Hey, listen. Be happy you're eating.
That's some caveman shit right there, right? When's dinner? When I kill the tiger and when I drag his ass back here and carve him up and
That's
throw him on the
funny.
grill.
Is brisket like your favorite thing to grill, or do you have like a
I
go-to
think
meat?
brisket's probably my favorite. The one I do more often than anything, though,
I
on
say
my
grill, but barbecue.
well, yeah, either way, I knew what you meant.
They're different though.
Um,
They're different.
If you go with grill, though, this might throw you. My favorite thing to grill is actually I'll grill the veggies and make salsa and do that fire roasted salsa action.
Ooh,
That's
I
my
bet-
favorite thing to
I
grill.
bet that's delicious.
That is, I love that shit. But I mean, I'll do everything. As far as like what I like to actually like, barbecue, though,
Yeah.
I love doing brisket. I've really got pulled pork down to a science. But my favorite thing that I probably do more often than not is on my smoker. I have these like hanging racks, and I'll just take 2 hooks and I'll hook it onto a whole chicken, and I'll smoke that like right over the pit. No water, no beer can up the rear kind of thing. It's just cut the backbone out, let it hang, and I'll just like open pit smoke a chicken.
I bet that's good.
Oh, that's better than any rotisserie I've ever had.
Damn. There's just something about that smoke flavor once it seeps into the meat.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So good.
I think there is some kind of primal about it too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's like you're almost going back to like your ancestors, kind of like this is how they cooked out in the open fire.
Yeah, cooking over the fire.
Yeah.
Just like eating some protein. Eat that shit with your hands.
And you know what's funny? I was talking years ago. A friend of mine told me because I kept asking like, "What's this allure?" Like all those obstacle races and those marathons. Because you see, like in St. Louis, they do marathons. We have a hot chocolate run. There's an undies run. There's a
Cowbell run.
cowbell run. There's the Valentine's Day. I think is the underwear one. Everyone wears their red panties.
Like the naked bike race.
The naked bike race. You got all these fun communal things, and I had to ask somebody like, "What's the point of this?" And I don't remember where they heard it from. But we were talking about how it's almost like if you think about it a long time ago, this does get a little bit more Paleolithic times, prehistoric man kind of stuff. But like they would do like the endurance kills where they would hunt an animal down and just run him all day down until they had no energy. They're not letting it eat. They're not letting it thrive. Not letting it rest. Mm-hmm. And then they kill it. Well, then they have this big bonfire and there's a big event. So it's not unlike you probably had to run 26 miles.
Yeah. Put in some work, dude.
Right. And so at the end, yeah, there's a fucking party because we killed the sumbitch after a day.
Right. And well, we're tribal creatures, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, especially whenever you're kind of exposed to the elements and stuff, it's
Yep.
safer to be together.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Everybody shared everything, and at the end of the day, we'd all, everybody'd come back and
Yep.
share the kill and celebrate. And
Something kind of Viking about those obstacle races too. You know, you're going over, you got all these things you got to run over, jump over, climb into, swim through, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you all have like beers and meat and meat.
Yeah, dude, our body craves that shit.
Oh, absolutely.
It craves challenge. It craves like difficult things. Like
Yep.
we need each other. Like the thing's important. That's kind of one of the things that we're really losing. Like
Yeah.
just the more sophisticated we become, it's like we're getting away from something.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're kind of getting back to that shit. You're a beekeeper now, right? You're
I
doing some
am.
beekeeping.
I think
Holy
I
shit.
want to hear something funny. That was something I have been talking about fucking doing that for years. And I've been researching it. I've been into it. I'm like, man, I would love to do this one day. And finally COVID happened. I went, fuck it, I know where my stimulus check's going. And I just went and bought a fucking flow hive. I hooked up with a friend of mine from that Hoosier page.
Yeah, dude.
Big Dickus.
I
And
love that group.
oh, dude, I love that. You want to talk about being sophisticated but still being a little Hoosier?
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the name.
Yeah. Dude,
Gotta love those guys.
Dude, yeah, Craig and Steve are doing
Shout
some
out to Craig and Steve.
Oh, fuck. I need to get them back on the podcast together.
I want to get all three of us on, man. That should almost be like its own episode.
Yeah, dude. Those guys are crazy.
Like either a Monday for them or an any day for us. That would be hilarious to get all four of us in a room. But yeah, with beekeeping, man, I got the flow hive, which I've been looking at for a while because I love that tech where it's like, it's old school beekeeping, but it's new school tech. And I had some people like, man, it's terrible for the bees. They won't take to it. They fucking took to mine.
They didn't think they would take to the new hive?
I think it's because it has a plastic frame. And so some people say like bees can't communicate on the plastic or whatever. And I'm like, well, when I researched it, like I could get going. Beekeeping is like anything, man. You're always going to have people that say one thing or another. And it's like,
You always got these purists who don't
you've
like
got
the new
nitpickers.
technology.
And so like there's pros and cons to everything for sure. And what I finally decided on was I didn't feel like, but when I did the math on how much it would cost me to buy the tools and the extractor and all the equipment needed to pull the honey out when that's time, it literally was, I think, $10 cheaper to buy just a flow hive straight out.
Oh, really?
And so now it's like, okay, well, all of my extractor is kind of built into the frames. You put a metal rod in, you turn, honey comes down a tap, and the cells just like, they're like this. You turn it and it breaks. So the honey just drips out.
Okay.
Put a little tube at the end for a spigot, pour it into it. You could go right from the hive to a jar.
Oh, nice.
And or it's cool though, is like if you have a full box, you could have honey from, this might be one type of flower, this might be another. And so you can have multiple flavors even within that frame.
How do you know what flower they're getting their pollen from?
So I haven't gotten that far yet, but I know that some people have said like the color of the honey can give you an idea that if it's like these colors are probably something.
Just
you
probably
have
like
to
the
know the
properties
region
of the honey.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so if you know your region a lot, like this year I had a fuck ton of clover.
Really?
And I was reading up like a lot of people even on like the coastline said like this was a really good year for clover across the country. So beekeepers had this really light, very like floral clover honey, which
wow.
everyone loves.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting like 35, 40 pounds of the stuff out of my first shot. And I'm like, that's awesome.
That's a lot of honey. Did you sell some of it?
I did. I ended up selling some off. I have some now that I just put. I don't think I'm going to sell this one, but I am going to go back. You want to talk about doing the primal shit? We're going to make some mead.
Are you?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
My in that Hoosier page, two of my really, really dear friends, Heather and Nathan, do structured water. And that'd be, if you get them on to talk about that, because I'll probably bash it. So if y'all are listening, I'm so sorry. But what they do is they distill it and they make the water inert, but then they add properties back into it. So you can, I mean, I'm sure they might not appreciate it this way as much, but the dumbed down layman version from somebody who hasn't studied it nearly as much as they have, it feels like they almost make like their own purified smart water.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have any of the shit in there. There's no chlorine, there's no fluoride, none of that stuff in there.
Right.
So I'm going to ask them for a bunch of water to use that to make the mead, and we're going to see how that comes out.
That'd be interesting for sure.
And then there's a couple other people. I've toyed with this idea, because if you think about like alcohol back in the day, it used to be like what they used to make tinctures and medicines with. And so mead, yeah, it's definitely an alcohol. It's like a beer kind of thing. Like you don't need the medicine property, but I'm like, could we throw in some CBG tincture in there or CBD or whatever and make it a little bit more like not as shitty for you?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you're making your own, like you could infuse other florals and other things into it. So yeah, it's mead, but what if you had elderberry in there? It's for the properties
funny.
that.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, I got 3 elderberry bushes now too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do. They're babies, so they're not going to probably produce anything this year, and maybe next year they'll produce.
Yeah.
But whenever they comes, like they're on the side of my house, I'm like, they're going to be berries everywhere. I know.
Dude, that is dope, man.
I'm excited about that shit.
I'm so fascinated by just growing things and just kind of doing everything yourself. And it's like I have no green thumb.
Really?
I've no. It's almost like I know you just got to start somewhere. In the beginning, you always suck. But it's almost like how, when somebody has this huge fitness goal and they're like, oh my God, I got to learn all of this shit. I got to do all, and then they don't ever get going. Like, that's how I am with, like, my green thumb. I'm just like, there's just so much to learn.
Well, and I feel
there's so much to learn. I'm just going to just stand here and just let other people do it.
Yeah. And I think to a point, people probably look at stuff and they think, like, take like fitness, okay, well, what's the pinnacle of fitness?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're looking at, depending on your school of thought, you're looking at strongman, you're looking at powerlifting, you're looking at bodybuilding, you're looking at CrossFit, you're looking at fitness modeling, and you're looking at all the elite people up there and thinking, I have to go to that. And the answer is no, you don't.
No, yeah.
Like, they're freaks. Eddie Hall is a freak.
Yeah.
Hathor Bjornsson is a freak. They were genetically predispositioned to be some of the strongest humans ever to walk the earth.
Right, and then they just put in the fucking work.
And and sometimes there is some chemical enhancement in there too. But
Probably.
yes, they still have to work.
For sure.
That's why it drives me nuts when people say, like, oh, they're so good. Yeah, it's probably steroids. Like, really?
Yeah, well, people just like to explain away where they're inadequate.
Yes.
It's always this, it's always that.
Right.
Apparently, I was just seeing today that so Israel Adesanya just won this weekend, and apparently our people are already talking shit like he's on roids.
Somebody was talking about his pec, or it looked weird or something.
I saw that, and I'm like, is this? First of all, I just watched that fight, and that didn't stick out to me. So it's like, is this a doctored photo that's going around, or
that's a great? And see, the shitty thing is, that's the problem with we've gotten so good at media, we can do that shit.
Yeah, it's like, did somebody Photoshop this, or is he really building up fat tissue from like an imbalance? Because the whole idea is, right, is like he's cycling probably, and he didn't take his estrogen blocker like he probably should have.
Yeah.
And because of that, now he got this fat tissue coming around his nipples, which is super common.
Yeah.
So it's like, all I know is the dude looked fucking phenomenal.
Here's my thing. At the end of the day, and as far as I'm concerned, if the rules say don't do steroids, don't do steroids.
Right.
If you compete in something and they don't care and that's your choice, you make your educated choice.
Right.
I personally don't care to, so it's not something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you have a guy who does exceptionally well and legit just outperforms another human, like if they were going back and forth, and Adesanya's strikes just look like they hit a little harder than Paulo Costa's, yeah, I could have given them that argument. But Costa got schooled that night,
dude.
man. And so that's...
Are people just hating? Because all I know is Adesanya just fucking looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
He spent probably 6 minutes chopping down that leg.
Yes.
So the entire first round was just him beating up his leg from
Right.
the first strike. Like, that was just all strategy, dude.
Yeah.
He completely slowed him down and nullified him, and then finally just took it to him with his hands.
For sure.
He didn't even start throwing punches really until the second round. Like,
I was going to say, I don't think I saw him do any punch in the
Yeah.
first round. Maybe like a jab
here
or two
and
just
there,
for
like,
distance.
yeah, you got to keep the hands active for
Yeah.
the kicks to work, but it's just like not very many of those.
No.
Like, he was mostly just chopping that leg down. You could see it from the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, are people just nitpicking on this guy?
I feel like right now, and I remember a couple years back, I was just talking to my friend Matt yesterday about this, where when I first saw Adesanya hit the UFC, I went, this guy looks like Spider Silva reborn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if somebody could go back and patch up some holes and then make a younger Silva and then relaunch him, this is like, the Spider 2.0.
Yeah.
Or like that next generation, that next evolution of the sport.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, we haven't really seen him grapple, but he said like he wants to work on that, and so that's something he's going to be challenging himself with.
Yeah.
But the dude is just so damn good, and I forgot, like, yeah, this is an elite level kickboxer. This was his 100th win.
Yeah.
This was not his first rodeo, not even his 5th rodeo.
He's fun to watch.
He's amazing to watch.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this guy is going to be the next big thing for sure. And so when he chops down Paulo the way he did, I mean, that was literally how you take him out.
That's how you beat him. I think that was
Yeah.
just perfect execution of a game plan.
And I like that this was a battle. It wasn't like the striker versus the grappler, because I saw that little bit where, like, Paulo tried to hand him the white belt at the weigh-ins.
Dude, afterwards, Adesanya is like, a white belt mounted you, bro.
That was hilarious. And so it was like everyone thought it was going to be like a grappler versus a striker. I'm like, I think this is a brawler versus a technician.
Yeah, I
It's
think
really
so
what
too.
it was. And it goes to show you, like, if you have good technique and timing,
Yeah.
you can take out a bigger, stronger, more athletic opponent for sure.
For sure, dude. But yeah, people like to explain away why they can't do something, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's fighting, whether it's playing baseball, whether
Right.
it's anything. It's just like, well, of course they can do it. And it's just like that loser mentality.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
like.
That being said, they're all on steroids.
Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, they're all on steroids, motherfuckers. Holy
Jockin'
shit.
209, what?
I wonder if those fucks will ever fight again. They don't really need to.
I was going to say, man, I don't think they need to.
No.
I agree with you.
They don't.
Somebody said that, or I don't know if Nate was talking about this, that when he was smoking that big CBD joint one
Yeah.
time, and Dana was freaking out at the
It was only CBD, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I'm sure. Yeah. And that's another thing too. You want to get in a drug test. I'm like, that dude smoked a joint in front of the public.
Yeah.
Even if that was all CBD, just because we know the Hoosiers that we do, like, Dennison's a good friend, and like even his little CBD oil, it says, yeah, there is 0.3% THC in this.
Right. There's still something
And
there.
so, like, if he tests positive, is it because of that? You can build up enough CBD in your system, and if you have that in there, eventually that 0.3 gets a little built up in there, and
Right.
it'll pop.
It matters.
It does matter.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because I mean, and that's the thing. Like people neglect to think about the slow accumulation of things.
yes,
Yeah, that's what fucks people up in health, right? It's
yeah.
like they put chemicals on their body, or they're eating shitty food. And it's just like, yeah, man, maybe like in that one serving, there's nothing that's really gonna hurt you, but then you do that long enough.
This is something funny too, and it's interesting that we brought that up because, like, with the slow accumulation, do you remember those old Sobe energy drinks from years ago?
Yeah,
When we were like, oh, the power blend. Well, this has creatine. It had like less than half a gram of creatine in there.
yeah,
Like, you'd have to drink 9 of those things to get even close to a therapeutic dose. You're just better off just taking the creatine and pouring it in yourself.
yeah.
But again, someone's like, well, what about slow accumulation? I'm like, right, but there's a lot of other sugar and crap you get along the way.
Yeah, all this other stuff
So
you're
to
getting.
accumulate one thing, what else do you accumulate? But when I hear jiu-jitsu guys argue, well, yeah, well, I think you just did this. Right, but if you take that slow accumulation, jiu-jitsu itself is a slow accumulation. Like, you don't learn all your black belt skills on day one.
Yeah,
You learn it over a decade.
right. Dude, there's just yeah, people are just so gung ho with jujitsu to learn it all. It's like, dude, just keep coming.
Did you ever see that documentary on Netflix that Tony Robbins, I'm Not Your Guru?
Yeah,
He had that great quote, that kid that was suicidal. I think it's at the very beginning where he was like, what are you upset about? And the guy goes to talk, he goes, is it your shoes? They're fucking red, man. And he kind of breaks the ice with the kid a little bit. He goes, I thought it was G. But at one point he says, you need to be kind to yourself because most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but they underestimate what they can do in 5 or 10.
Yeah, that's so true, man.
And I'm like, that right there, you want to talk about people not appreciating the slow accumulation of skill or
Yeah.
even a balance in your own body. I mean, I know we were just talking about THC as far as a CBD supplement, but take that same concept and apply it to, like, your schooling, your education,
your business.
your trade, your business.
Yeah, man. Like, people are, yeah, I live by that methodology, dude. And it can almost actually, if you're not careful, it can be, it can actually work out against you almost because you become too patient.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
do have to have urgency for sure.
You got to have a sense of urgency. You have to be able to, like, kind of look at where you're at and be honest with yourself. But dude, nothing happens overnight.
Right.
Whenever I worked at Supplement Superstore, I remember it was like every Sunday. I think like the first Sunday of the month we'd have a team
The
meeting.
family meetings.
Yeah. And like
the family dinners at the headquarters.
except this was at the store in Manchester.
Okay.
There's probably only like 15 of us there.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that big of a company then. This was in 2009 or 2010.
Oh, okay. This is a while ago. Gotcha.
Long
gotcha.
time ago. So Andy, like, told a story about the I think the Japanese bamboo or the Chinese bamboo or whatever. And dude, I fucking, like, my phone case is bamboo because it's like this constant reminder of, he talked about how, I think for 5 years now, you water it, you plant it, you give all this, you take care of it with no indication that what you're doing is working. And
Interesting.
and then one day after 5 years, boom, this fucking like 90-foot bamboo like sprouts
shoots
up
up.
out of the ground. Right? Yeah. So,
Shit.
and like that's the kind of it applies to success, right? It's like, you may do something for 5 years. You got to do everything every day, the right shit, and with no indication that what you're doing is working.
That's fair.
And then one day, boom, shit pops off.
That's the truth right there for sure.
Yeah, so
It really is.
dude, so I've just always taken that methodology to, like, anything that, like, I'm pursuing, that I'm trying to be successful at. You know what I mean? It's like, it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time, and, like, I always just use that as a reminder, dude. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just so big into that.
Man, so the coach I'm working with right now, Paul McElroy, he's the guy who created the Amazing 12. I was talking about that last time with you.
Right.
And I have a goal. I wanted to do this years ago, and he months and months ago, we were messaging on Facebook about this, and he goes, "Man, you should have hit this goal by now." And he was just very honest with me and Candace. So we've been programming out, like, I want to hit with a kettlebell. I want to be able to do a one-arm press, a one-legged squat, and a pull-up, all with a 100-pound bell. Or it's 48 kilos, it's 106 pounds.
Okay.
But I want to be able to press 106 on one side, well, both sides, do a pistol squat with both, and then chain around the waist and do a pull-up.
So you do the pistol squat, it's racked? And
So
then
I like holding it here, but yeah, I have seen people do it racked too.
Oh, so you're going to do, like, a single...
Yeah, so almost like a goblet squat, but
Like a goblet squat, but...
yeah, but
with
drop
the-
into a pistol.
Okay.
And so we've been working on stuff, and then just the other day, you were talking about slow accumulation. His philosophy is that if you always time spent figuring out where your limit is, time wasted expanding your limits. And so his philosophy is very much and I'll quote him on this, is that strength is not built, it's granted. It's that coaxing it out of your nervous system over time. And so he has a very different approach on how to basically that's not, I mean, you have to put in the effort for sure. But when you hit a new max, it should still be well within your zone of capabilities.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you just, hey, we're always at like 60%. Let's say your deadlift is like 100 pounds and you start at 60, and then you 70, and then 80, and then 90. Well, now you were like right next door to where your max was, but it's effortless.
Yeah.
So where's your new max? Well, who fucking cares?
Right.
Like you said, it doesn't matter. Unless you compete, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And even if you compete, the guys next year are like, oh, okay, well, he beat me this year. I'll just have to do it next year.
Right.
So the other day, he had me do a workout where I had to do, it was 28 kilobells, 62 pounds. And I'm looking at the workouts for the week, and it has like 10 sets of this, 10 sets of this. And so the reps kind of grabbed up. And then Friday was, all right, 10 sets of 10 and 10. Let's see, a big set. I'm like, it's 100 fucking reps each arm.
It's a lot.
And when I first started with kettlebells, I'm like, I didn't do more than 5. So I'm like, you want me to do 100 reps each arm? Set 2, I'm like, I'm feeling good. Set 3, set 7, I am fucking cussing him. So Paul, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. I love you, buddy. But I got it done. I videoed the last set. I'm like, I can't believe I fucking did that. But it was hundreds of reps going into that day.
Yeah.
Leading up to that. So it was a very slow accumulation over time. And I'm even doing this after coming off of a shoulder injury too. So I'm like, I can't believe I fucking did that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I've bought in so much, like when it comes to like strength training, like the ideology of like Pavel and the whole greasing the groove and like never hitting like.
I feel like in a way Paul took greasing the groove to the next level. I
Sounds
really do.
Yeah, that's a lot of reps.
Because like every day I do pistol squats every day. Because right now I feel like the pistol and the pull up are probably my weaker lifts. Like I love pressing overhead. It's not strong enough to where I'm within striking zone of the 48 kilo.
Yeah.
But I'm still at a point now where I'm like, okay, now like 32 and 36 are feeling more comfortable.
Okay.
And I'm like, I've never pressed a 40. So I'm like, okay, I'm a little bigger now than when I started. I'm getting the reps in here. That 40 is going to go up.
Oh, for sure.
And when the 40 goes up, I'm going to be like, oh, motherfucker, I got the 48.
Well, it all starts with the mind. Like, you
Yes.
have to convince yourself that you are. Like, you have
Yes.
to believe it. Like, you are strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the other thing, too, is if you, even if you don't say like, oh, yeah, I'm strong enough to do this. If you just say like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Don't let a piece of iron like intimidate you.
Right.
He wrote an article on his website where it's beating the boogeyman press, and the boogeyman was the beast, the 48 kilo bell.
Okay.
And it says it's just a fucking weight.
That's it.
48K is not that heavy.
Just get out of your own way.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was a big takeaway after I talked to Dave.
Yeah.
He was trying to like teach me how to fucking rip some cards
Yeah.
afterwards. I'm just like, fuck. Like I can remember like I'm trying to rip this shit and it was actually hurting my hand, and I was just like, I can remember thinking like I had doubt in my mind. I can remember like the doubt creeping in. I'm like, no, fuck this, man. Like you can like believe in that shit. Say you can. Like
You're gonna love this story. So it's no surprise, Dave and Paul are good friends.
Okay.
And surprise, right?
Right. Shocker.
Shocker. Geniuses in the industry meeting together. So when I had my gym, I hosted a workshop for other coaches to learn Paul's system. And Dave was one of the coaches. Dave and I were 2 of the first 4 American coaches to ever learn that.
Okay.
And so they came to St. Louis. We're hanging out in Cottleville at Exit 6, okay? And Dave happened to have some steel that was in his truck to bend.
Yeah.
We know what you did, Dave. I'm assuming that's recording. That's why I keep looking over.
Oh, it's there.
Okay,
yeah.
We know what you did, Dave. We know. But he brings out this horseshoe, and I bent a couple nails, and I watched him doing some shit, and he wraps his horseshoe, and he goes, bend it, and he's coaching me through the mechanics. And at one point, like, I'm over here, I'm bruising the fuck out of my leg.
Yeah.
Digging this thing in and trying to pry it open. And finally, I look over at Paul and Dave, and just something in there, like, Paul just gives me the look like, just do it. And I felt it bend a little bit, and I look back up, and he goes, if it bleeds, it fucking dies! And I bent that horseshoe, and I looked at Dave, and I said, the funny thing is, after going to Old Time Strongman University a few months later in January at his place, I had an easier time. Actually, yeah, it was an easier time bending a lighter horseshoe, of course. But I remember thinking that felt almost as much discomfort as what the harder one did. And I said, how was I able to do that? He goes, because that night and that day, your mind did not allow you to fail.
Yeah.
You feel pain and discomfort now. You're like, oh, fuck this. But back then, you're like, oh, no, this dies.
Yeah.
And so every time you bend this, you got to think like what, Paul and I were telling you. If it bends, it goes.
Yeah.
It bleeds, it dies.
Dude, the mind is the key, man. It really is. Like physically, we are capable of far more than
Oh,
people.
absolutely.
Yeah, people would trick themselves real quick.
I've heard, the story of like was it Roger Bannister running the mile?
Yeah,
In like 5 minutes or
4 minute
Yeah,
mile.
4 minute mile. So
Yep.
like that was never done before he did.
If that was impossible, if you did it, your heart would
Yep,
explode. And then,
exactly.
and then since then, how countless people have done it.
Exactly.
High school people
Floodgates
have
are
beat
open.
it. Yeah, dude, it's like I read a book. It was called Becoming Superman.
Yeah.
And essentially, about flow state and shit like that, and the whole idea of once something becomes in the realm of possibility, then it really is like more people will do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can be thought to have been impossible, but once you truly believe it, then man, just who knows what can happen.
And it's funny too, and this is what kills me so many times. Like I see this on Facebook, in my brain and in my heart, it hurts reading the shit.
Yeah.
Another reason I need to get off that shit, because it's fucking toxic.
It's toxic.
When you see and you know that this can be done, just because it wasn't done under a lens of science with the exact methodology somebody else wanted it to be done.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's anecdotal. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking work. Whatever. It's
yeah.
like,
What's wrong with anecdotal evidence? Like if all of a sudden, like that's not valid.
I had to argue with somebody. My entire fucking industry in fitness is anecdotal. There's no science that says 5 sets of 10 is going to do exactly what it does.
Right. Yeah, dude. I mean, at a certain point, it's just
there
like.
probably is, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everybody just needs this whole double-blind placebo study.
They need it all done, but and then the problem is, then when you get that done, well, who paid for that? And then you go down there and like, God damn it, you just can't win.
Yeah.
There's always somebody that wants to argue. So it's like everybody becomes a lawyer all of a sudden. They have to argue in a court of Facebook.
Yeah. Eventually you just got to believe something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, man. And sometimes there's more than one way to get things done.
Do you remember the old 80s movie War Games?
No.
Matthew Broderick. So there's a great, the ending movie, the long story short is that a kid plays a war game. I think it's like global thermonuclear war.
Okay.
And it's almost like the old MS-DOS version of like Risk, or
Okay.
It's a global takeover game, right?
Yeah.
And so the idea is that you select these points and you launch a global nuclear war and you try to like blow up everybody else, right? Well, then he inadvertently triggers like a government AI that thinks he's playing a live game, or he's playing a game, but it starts playing live with like actual missiles.
Oh, shit.
And so everyone's defense systems are going fucking crazy in the world. And they're like, are you doing this? Are you doing this? And so there almost ends up being a war. And so at the end, they make the game play against itself. And so now it starts running simulations, and then it runs and runs, and it gets faster and faster and faster. And finally, as it's doing this, it's also trying to unlock missile codes at the same time, and it shuts it down. And finally, the AI reports back to the guy that they find the guy who created it, thinking that he can shut it down. And he's like, I can't shut it down. It's going. Once it starts, I can't stop it.
Damn.
So what they do is they get him
rolling.
there, and so that's when he said, make it play against itself. And it does, and it says, interesting game. The only winning move is not to play. And I realized that is the only way you can get along with people on Facebook. You just can't participate in that shit.
Can't participate.
You got to go above it.
It's not natural.
It's not.
It's not
It's really
natural.
not. We're not meant to argue on fucking screens and
Yeah.
get this elitist mentality. And that's what kills me, when people get so fucking elitist. And I'm like, what are you elite?
Dude, yeah, like nobody's having really rational discourse on
Yeah.
there. No one's changing anybody's mind.
Right.
Even over the most simple shit. Like
Yeah.
people want to start attacking you, and
Mhm.
that's why on that LeBron post, I was like, look, man, here's my fucking address if you want to come see what I'm about. Because
Right.
it's like I'm not a fucking keyboard warrior. Like
Yeah.
you guys don't know me. I fucking fought and trained, and
Yeah.
I do this shit. Like I'm not just some idiot who doesn't know anything.
Yeah, it's always interesting. I saw Tracy got into he posted a meme, and it was like taekwondo. It was that whole thing where like you have the couple walking, you have the person going damn, and they're looking back at the other one.
Yeah.
And it was like a girl, real cute girl walking with a taekwondo black belt and said BJJ blue belt. And she's, ooh.
Oh, I saw that one.
Oh my God, the shade that got thrown around there, and I'm like, what the fuck? And some of the shades come from people. I'm like, you guys have been a white belt for like fucking 14 years, man, and you're over
They're
here
just-
talking.
yeah.
Come on, just back off.
But they're fans. They're
They have to
zealots.
say like, oh, well, this is better, and I would put this against that. And Tracy's like, I'll let my 14-year-olds whoop your ass.
Yeah, Tracy likes to post shit on there.
I love that, man.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, Tracy, dude, you're on Facebook almost all day.
You know what's fun? I thought that one day, but here's the thing: people like him, I can be cool with, because I've met them and I know he's a legit good dude.
Yeah,
And even
legitimately
if he
good
says
dude.
stuff I don't necessarily agree with, I can appreciate his perspective but he and I can agree to disagree.
Yeah, he'll,
You know?
he'll agree to disagree, and also he's not above having any conversation in person.
I love that about the man.
Yeah,
And I think anybody that does that, I know JW's that way too. He'll talk about anything with anyone.
yeah,
And even if he has his view, you know, you have your views, I have my views, they have theirs, this person has theirs.
yeah,
At least you can find that middle ground where, like, look, we all agree on this, right? Okay,
Yeah.
past that, it's all kind of bullshit.
yeah. I mean, like, at what point can we all just agree to disagree? Like, it's okay to not think exactly like everybody else.
I love the fact we don't think like everybody else. Because
Right.
if we thought like everybody else, there'd be no point in free thought.
Shit would be so boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit would be so boring.
It'd be so boring, and barbecue would never be good.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you wouldn't have all the different styles.
Right.
Right? Shit, like, I personally, like, I'm not a fan of Carolina barbecue sauce.
See, I can handle it on a few things, but that mustard-based one, what
I'm
you're
not
talking,
fucking with it. Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, it's
I'm not fucking.
it's a few and far between.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
give me a blooming onion, I'm okay with it.
Oh yeah. That would actually be
You see what I mean?
pretty
Like,
good.
you got certain pulled pork once in a while, cool. But I don't say this to you, and I'm gonna hate on all my KC friends. I think St. Louis barbecue is better.
I do too. I do too.
We're right in the middle of the world. We get all the best of everything.
You know, the for the longest time, everybody's like, oh yeah, Gates and what's the other one? Gates Barbecue and Arthur Bryant's.
Oh, Arthur. Yeah, I was just starting to think. I'm sorry, Arthur something. Why am I blanking on this? It's
didn't like
literally down the street from my mom.
I didn't like either one of them.
Arthur's kind of disappointed me. There was another
They're
one.
both disappointing. I think
K&M. It's actually right up the street from where my mom lives. They're a hidden little gem out there.
Yeah.
Some of their stuff, like the day I went, the first time I ever went, everything was a little dried out. But it had a good enough flavor. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I bet if I caught you right when you pulled that off, this would be bomb.
Right.
And so then one day we went, like, right as they opened, and I was dead on accurate. I'm
Okay.
like, okay, we're redeemed. This is what I expected, but it's like when your brisket's a little dried out,
Yeah.
but it still tastes good. It's just like, I don't know. It's like
Maybe
you
bad
need sauce
timing.
to just get some liquid in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to Q39 last time I was in Kansas City.
I have never heard of
It
that.
was pretty good.
Yeah?
It was pretty fucking good. The flavor was on point. I was pretty happy.
I'm gonna have to make a trip. I want to get out there sometime after the fair ends and go. One, I got to visit my mom anyway, but assuming that she's not sick of me after the season.
Yeah.
But
Are you from Kansas City?
no, she actually. I've been in St. Charles, St. Peter's almost my whole life.
Okay.
So, but she several years ago met her husband through the Renaissance Fair circuit, and then they started dating, and then after a while, when they got serious, she just moved in with them, and
Oh.
she's been there for years now.
Okay.
I want to say it's been like, has it almost been 10 years?
Wow. It's so different.
remember.
It's so weird how different St. Louis and Kansas City are.
Yeah,
Very opposite.
it is, and yet it's really funny because like when you go down to like that business district down there, it feels very much like the Loop.
Really? You talking about that Power Light district?
Yeah, that's it, Power Light.
Never been there.
It's fun. They got, I mean, a lot of it has the same feel like what you do down like St. Louis, or not so much, like more like Central West End,
Okay.
and maybe a little hodgepodge of the two somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It feels very similar, but yeah, there's a lot of differences.
I still need to explore that city a little bit more. I've been there a handful of times, but I've never done like a lot of exploring of the city. I just know it definitely feels different when I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of it is just you're not seeing like your own bullshit because it's like your town, so you feel like it's your town, your bullshit.
Could
so
be.
you go somewhere else, and it's like, oh, this is not my bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. It could be a little bit, man. Yeah, but I do love exploring.
Like even when you're on like a weekend vacation, the air smells a little different.
Yeah, man. I love the feel of different cities.
I do too.
Some of them just feel really good, and some of them don't.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just like, I didn't like play around in Bentonville, Arkansas, but like, or it was Little Rock. I just remember driving through there. I'm just like, oh, this place sucks. I'm like, fuck this place. I don't ever want to visit Little Rock. Like, this
Yeah.
place sucks.
Well, and I'll give you a great example. It's like when I went to visit Colorado years ago. Love that. I mean, everything was perfect. I'm like, I will fucking die here one day.
Just
I
good
love
vibes.
this. I love this place. And then there's Alton.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Colorado feels good.
Shit.
That's how I felt about Austin, man. I went to Austin and just immediately felt at home.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, man.
I've
And
heard a lot of people say that about Austin, and also not Houston, but like Meadowlands, like kind of out. I think that's what it is. But yeah. Anyway, just right outside of Houston, I've heard people say that too.
really, I've
Yeah.
never been to Houston,
Me neither.
but
Yeah, I'd like to go.
I love Austin. I definitely want to live there.
Oh wait, I take it back. I did visit Houston because a really good buddy of mine used to live down there. So yeah, I think I have been in Houston.
I didn't realize how close to the water Houston was. It's like on the water. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we had some bomb ass Mexican food down there too.
Really?
Oh, it was good.
Dude, best Mexican food is in Texas.
Oh yeah.
Some of the best.
Oh yeah.
When I live in San Antonio, I'm just like, oh, this is so fucking
I,
amazing.
I don't know if I would like always be on weight or if I would just be hella overweight if I lived down there because of that
Just
food.
got to find a new weight.
Yeah, I think that's Mike
It's,
went down to Texas. He's suddenly a super heavyweight. I like
dude,
my enchiladas, man.
dude, food is like my favorite thing. I'm always good for a good food recommendation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we surprisingly have an amazing culinary scene here in St. Louis. It's like a hidden gem.
Yeah.
It's like a hidden gem.
I think it's great too because I made a joke with a few Hoosier friends how like now that marijuana has become more medical and more acceptable, like you're seeing a lot of chefs come out of the woodworks. It's like, oh, they can come out with their crazy creations now and infuse it with stuff, and they're like, oh, we can do this because we can get away with it now.
That's what they've been doing all this time anyway.
Yeah, and they've just been underground, and I'm like, some of these recipes, even if you don't have anything added to it, I'm like, where did you come up with this thought process? I was really high one night. I'm into it.
Yeah. You're gonna start making infused honey? That'd be dope.
I don't know if I would infuse it with THC, but I did talk to a guy about doing it with CBD.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I like the idea of, and I think if I wanted to do this, I would get like a really small, almost like a craft apiary, get 10 or 12 hives, get it to where we're cranking out honey on a regular basis, and get a couple 100 pounds of honey in a shot, and then make small jars, but infuse that with, I want to use that same stuff that Native Hemp Extract uses. I want to use their oil.
Okay.
Or their oil or their extracts because I love that stuff to death.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I could find a way, and maybe it's a tincture, you have to infuse it in, maybe you just drop the oil straight in. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I would love to get a good supply of honey up to where we can infuse that and then market that one. I think that would be great just for the recovery aspect.
Oh yeah.
I even looked at like possibly doing like a morning and like a nighttime blend. So like if you wanted more energizing flavors like your orange, your cinnamon, something to kind of get you up and going.
Yeah.
Your nighttime have like lavender and chamomile and vanillas, things like that, like your almost like your
Right.
sleepy time teas.
Yeah.
I think that would be good. And since it's all CBD, it's legal, it's safe, and then also helps a lot with that inflammation that we all get from like training.
Right.
I think that's something I really want to look at down the road.
Yeah, that'd be a good option. That'd be a
And
real
especially
good
if it's
option.
local here, I'm like, I could just put jars up in front of the store or at the gym sometime. I'm sure someone just grab it and here's $10, here's $20, whatever it is.
Dude, people will scoop that up real quick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely find myself kind of moving more towards trying to source as local as possible.
I am too, more and more.
Yeah.
Like I want to hit up a farmer's market here soon, pick up some, stuff for the house or whatever. And just, I haven't been to a farmer's market in years.
Yeah, me
And I
neither.
love them.
Yeah.
I remember like last time I think I was like 25.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
been
been
a
at least
while.
10 years.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, dude, they're the fucking best, man. I used to buy my eggs from somebody, and then I stopped,
Mhm.
and I started going to Costco to get them. But
Yeah.
there's a big difference. Like the eggs that you
Yeah.
get from, I want to get chickens. Really,
so
I don't have a green thumb, but I'll grow some fucking chickens.
one of the best men I know, his name is Scott, and he's actually my old science teacher from high school. I found out he lives right up the road. He's also a beekeeper, and he keeps chickens as well.
Oh, nice.
And he and I were talking one day, and then John up at the gym, we were speaking about this too. One thing that's really beneficial about COVID, if you could think like, oh, what benefit came out of COVID? Well, a lot of people,
actually.
yeah, a lot. If you really step back, a lot of people went back and started learning how to be more self-sustaining. So you see more people doing beekeeping, you see more people doing chickens, you see more people gardening,
Right.
even filtering their own water, and like
Yeah.
oh wow, you can't go to the store because you got to wear a mask all the time and all these rules. I'm just gonna figure out how to do this myself.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a way maybe people are a little smarter with their money because sometimes like all the things that they were dumping for convenience they don't do as much anymore.
Right.
And so now there's a surplus and like why was I spending money on all this shit before? Or, like I was going to Starbucks twice a day. Now I could just buy the bag of coffee.
Right.
Grind
Yeah,
it
man.
myself. Little things like that.
People
make
are
a big,
definitely turning it into a positive.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. I decided that I decided this a long time ago, but like it for sure like got cemented in. Like I'm gonna start hunting because
I would love to start that.
yeah,
man.
dude. Like I got my bow, and I'm just gonna fucking start hunting because I want
Mhm.
to procure my own meat.
Yeah.
It's gonna be healthier, and at the end of the day, realistically, like I was talking to my friend yesterday about this. We're so far removed from like the food chain,
Mhm.
especially meat. Like we really, like we trust what we're getting, but do you really know what you're
Yeah.
getting? You don't. They just tell you this is chicken. They just tell you this is pork. They just
Right.
tell you this is beef. It's like, what the fuck is it really? They could be feeding us humans.
Yeah.
Realistically-
And then when you see the articles of like, oh yeah, they've successfully grown meat into a test tube, and it's like,
What is happening
Is that
here?
what that is?
Yeah, you just don't fucking know. So it's
Right.
just like, man, I'm just gonna try to become more self-sufficient.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like that idea, and actually that's something I really wanted to get into, and that I might make that a focus for next year.
Yeah.
I say might just because I've got a lot of goals for myself and I don't want to like overcommit.
There's only so many things you can
You
do.
got so much time in a day. There's
Oh my
100% is 100%. I know everyone, oh, I got out there and gave 110.
No.
No, you gave 100.
100. That's it. There's no 110.
Yeah.
Either
Yeah.
you did or you didn't.
There's not 1 in a tenth of you on the
Right.
field, or there's not even 2 of you say 200%.
Yeah.
You have 24 hours in a day that we know of. You got that we've accepted, right?
Right.
And so in that 24 hours, you have to sleep for X amount, which gives you Y amount on the other side.
Yeah.
So how you fill that in, and then how many days of that do you fill in with that's your priority. So
Right.
I ideally would like to get into and be fairly decent at hunting before 40. That gives me 5 years.
Yeah. You got time.
I got time.
Yeah. I figured. I've been putting a lot of fucking time into jujitsu. Like, if I have it my way.
Yeah, I feel like last I talked to you, you went from purple belt to like 4-stripe brown, like overnight. It felt like I'm like, damn, dude.
I got 2 stripes on my brown.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, dude, I was a purple belt for 4 years.
Okay.
And then I'm coming up in October to be a year of having my brown belt.
Okay.
But dude, I'm in the gym more than the average fucking bear.
I was gonna say, man, you really doubled down on that. I'm proud of you, man. That's badass as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally doing jiu-jitsu 6-7 days a week.
I love it, man.
Like, every fucking day. I'm teaching. I've in 4 months I taught over 100 classes.
That's badass.
So just like constantly teaching, constantly trying to learn, always rolling. Competition is a part of like the whole judgment process. When
Yeah.
So like that's why I'm competing right now. But if I have my way, I'll have my black belt by the end of the year, hopefully.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have I can't say if I will or not, but I
Right.
can just do everything in my power to try to make that happen.
All you got to do is just do the best you can.
Just keep training,
Yeah.
right? Like,
And again, I would like to get my black belt before I'm 40.
yeah, I hate how people act like don't focus on the belt. Because it's like, yeah, you can't get obsessed about the belt because
Sure.
you really don't have any control if your professor's going to give that to
Well,
you.
you can't sit there and think like every person that you beat or taps you out is going to be a plus or minus. Like it's not a point
Right.
system. Like
Exactly.
if you tap so many brown belts today, does that give you 50 points towards a brown belt or black belt? What does that do?
Right.
It's not like EXP in like a Final Fantasy game.
Right. Yeah. So it's just like
I mean, it kind of is, but not the same way.
But I got into jiu-jitsu to get my black belt.
Yes.
So like it's okay to have that goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully like if I do get that, I probably will not keep going as hard as I am in jiu-jitsu. And because again, there's only 24 hours in a fucking day, and I
Right.
would really like to get good at archery, and that's going to take some time too.
Yeah.
And hunting and different things. So it's like I'm just doubling down right now on this goal. And then
I think that's good, man. And just like right now, my focus is on getting the training business back up, getting the nutrition business back up, and making that pretty self-sufficient. The bees are fun, but I don't spend a lot of time with them, man. Because like once I realize like how self-sufficient they are, I kind of stopped babysitting. Like I was checking them like every other day.
It's like just getting them going.
And I'm like, oh my god, there's like one more wax cap than yesterday. And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I can just let them chill.
Yeah.
And I think I got a better production this time than I did the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
So
let nature take its course.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like honey doesn't really go bad if it's cured right. Like if you give it time and let it, get all the moisture out, and it's just the honey, it's not going to ferment when it's sitting there.
Yeah. So,
And if it does ferment, oh damn, I was going to make meat anyway. You just saved me a step. So
yeah. Like, I mean, it's still usable.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Haven't they found honey in like, I feel like they found honey in like an Egyptian coffin one
That
time.
might have been my friend Missy that was telling me that.
And it was still good.
Yeah, that was like 3,000 years old or
Something crazy.
Yeah, it was her or another friend of mine were like, and I think they found like they were actually used it to preserve something in there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was like a vegetable or like a mushroom or whatever, but there was like something in the honey that they were using to preserve, but the honey was actually still edible.
Yeah, essentially honey doesn't go bad.
I don't know if I'd want to eat 3,000-year-old honey, but
I wouldn't, but might fuck yourself up.
you might fuck yourself because you don't know what else is in that honey.
Could be some sort of plague you just don't know
Right,
about.
exactly. It's the cure for COVID the whole time.
It's the cure we've had it the whole time.
The whole time. It was in King Tut's tomb.
That's funny, dude.
They always say look to your ancestors for the answer. No, you meant literally in their fucking tomb. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
Missed the memo.
Shit, dude. We just need to leave those tombs closed. We want to open up some sort of fucking...
Yeah.
Like the movie The Mummy.
I always think of that when people say they open up the tombs. I'm like, we literally had films about this. Or you see the guy saying, scientists think they can clone a dinosaur. 5 movies telling you what is going to happen.
We got movies for AI at all. Like, it's,
Right.
dude,
Terminator.
all the bad shit could happen. Yeah,
If I see Google and Apple merge, it's over. That's Skynet. I'm telling you right now. That's just gonna happen.
It's already there. We just
Or
don't know
if
about
either
it.
of them merge with Tesla, that's the other option I could see happening too.
Yeah, dude. I mean, fucking Elon Musk is already talking about his little Neuralink or whatever
Yeah.
it is. Like we're all just gonna talk without even using words.
There's a part of me that's like, man, that's terrifying. But then there's another side of me that's like, fuck it. I don't think it'll be around by the time I'm here. And even if it is, shit, I'll be 70. Fuck it. Sign me up.
Who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows what's gonna happen? I definitely wonder, dude. I want to be 106, so
That's fair.
so hopefully I get to see some cool shit along the way.
Yeah, I think so.
I got 73 years.
I've had
3.5.
fortune tellers tell me I'm going to last in my 80s and 90s. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that is, but I figure I'll just take care of myself now and let the chips go.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just about what do you do now?
Yeah. So I'm just going to train jiu-jitsu and keep bees, barbecue the shit out of stuff.
Nice.
So when you get into hunting, one of the things I know everyone, listens to Joe Rogan for 5 minutes. They always hear about elk, and I've always loved elk because it fucking tastes amazing.
Oh,
But
it's so good.
where do you want to go hunting at, or what are you looking? Just anything, or do you have something in mind that you want to go hunting for?
No, the ultimate goal isn't elk.
Okay.
Because that is so much meat. I
Yeah.
would absolutely love to do an elk, do like an elk hunt in like Colorado or
Yeah, I can see that.
somewhere. But I mean, just to start off, man, like I'll go kill some wild boar because
Okay.
those are easy to get and it'll help fill up the freezer.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, obviously like deer. Like those are probably like the two that I'm gonna start off with is just deer and
That's
deer
the
and
one
boar.
I'm looking at deer myself, just because
Yeah.
one, I mean, they're everywhere in the Midwest,
Yeah.
and two, it's like, I mean, even when they get out of control, they're like, okay, we're just gonna raise the limit on what you could take home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, deer is very feasible, so deer's for sure on the list. I would like to go get that eventually one day, like a bear. That'd be pretty
Oh,
cool.
wow.
A bear
That'd
and
be
an
fun.
elk. Yeah, this just for the hunt itself. That would
Oh,
just
yeah.
be fun to do, even if I didn't take like the meat myself.
I think the nutritional value of that, just that game meat, like going back to nature,
Yeah.
it's not been touched by bullshit.
But even then, you got to be careful. I was just listening to a Rogan podcast. He
Yeah.
had this guy on, and he was talking about even in the most remote areas of the world, it's still affected by like pesticides. and different-
Interesting.
Yeah. So even if you think you're getting the healthiest thing in the most remote part of the wilderness, it's still probably affected.
I'm just gonna show you how much we fuck up because we gotta outthink nature.
It's fucking crazy, dude. Well,
Yeah.
we're fucking up nature is really what it
Oh,
boils
for
down
sure.
to. It's just us fucking it up. And then like even deer, apparently, and this kind of scares me. Apparently, I'm gonna fuck up the name of what they're getting, but it's essentially like mad cow disease, where
Okay.
like their brains are like holes are like rotting away in their brain.
Right.
And what like I know with mad cow disease, what that came from was like we were feeding cows to cows, and we were including the brain.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And like when you have like cannibalism and
Mm-hmm.
you consume the brain, there are prions in there,
Mm.
and the prions will like waste your brain away.
Interesting.
So apparently, whatever's going around or something like, there's actually some cases where that's also affecting deer. So
Huh.
it is the potential where it's like, man, a hunter might think they're getting the cleanest animal ever, and it could fuck
And
them
it's
up.
just as spoiled as if it went to Walmart.
Yeah, and it could fuck them up. So
Man, that
yeah, it's
sucks.
kind of scary, and that's just what we do as humans, man. We fuck things
Yeah.
up.
No, but I definitely want to go on a big hunt sometime. Hell, man, I'll let me know when you want to go. We'll both go.
Yeah, we'll squeeze it, kill with our hands.
Yes. You get the legs, I'll get the neck.
Rear
Or,
naked
well,
that
you got
shit.
longer arms. You probably rear naked. I'll go for the leg lock.
Yeah, I was joking with my friends. We were camping, and I was like, it's getting dark out. It's possible a big cat could try to jump up on us. Like, I think we got bobcats around here or some shit.
Right.
I'm like, as long as if it's small enough, I'll fucking kill it.
Right.
But if it's too big, man, gonzo.
I was visiting a friend down in Farmington when we were at Walmart, just picking up some supplies, just like snacks and stuff because we were camping out and everything.
Yeah.
And I made a crack about like his farm. He said like, oh yeah, we got to be careful because like there's copperheads and stuff out. And I'm like, that's my thing, man. I hate snakes.
Hate them.
I hate snakes so much. And at one point he made a comment. He's like, yeah, there's a bunch of wild animals, but I mean, we should be fine. They don't typically like to go around near humans and the farm. It's close enough to the house. They'll probably be farther away. And at one point I made a crack about cougars or mountain lions, like being out in the area and bobcats and stuff. And then we saw this lady who looks like she had just been strung out on any meth-like substance ever all at one time. I'm like, never mind. I think I found the cougars. We're good.
There's the cougar there.
Just walked by and I mean, I could go into better descriptions, but the point is like the joke was there. So
It was there. That's funny, bro.
yeah. Oh, we found the cougars and they strung.
Fuck, you better watch out.
No kidding. Yeah, that's the last thing we need is meth cougars out in the Midwest.
There's a whole lot of fucking meth down in the woods
Right.
in Missouri, bro.
That's one of those things too. When you hear about all the drugs that people can get on and stuff, like how did people think that was a good idea?
But did they think it was a good idea? So
Right.
Once some of those things get their fucking hooks in you, bro.
Man, it's Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's meth or cheeseburgers, man. Sometimes you just get the wrong hook in you.
Dude,
And those addictive personalities, man. You talk about those kind of stuff.
yeah,
Or those kind of
personality
people, for
matters.
sure.
And yeah, you can be addicted to anything, really.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I can't buy ice cream because I have no fucking self-control.
Oh,
Like,
it's Oreos for me.
people think I'm
Get
joking,
them out of
but
the fucking house.
dude,
Especially if I'm cutting weight. I don't want to see them.
dude, I'll just eat the whole damn thing.
Shit, dude, you want to talk about weight-based sports? So for my level 2 kettlebell certification, I was literally floating between 2 weight classes.
Okay.
And the only thing that I cared about was one of them was I had to press a bell that I knew I could not press at the time. And the other one is I'd hit it once or twice in practice. So I thought I could do it. So I'm like, so I just watched my weight for 5 pounds. I'll be all right. That night, Jen comes home and she's like, oh, yeah, I got you a pack of Oreos. I figure you've been having a really tough week. So, treat yourself. Literally posted out a post-it note and I wrote like 4 level 2 certification, or like I said, like basically like 4 graduates only, and I put that in the freezer.
Okay.
So I made it a goal, like I can't touch those until I graduate.
Yeah, good move.
And so then I went to the weekend and then I injured my arm, couldn't pass that weekend. She's like, oh, you get your Oreos right. I'm like, it says for graduates only, not for people who went to the course.
Right.
So I had to wait till like July. Those things are in the freezer for like 3 months.
That's funny. Dude, it's good motivation, though.
Oh,
like,
I plowed them.
Yeah, I bet. Oreos are so good.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, gosh.
And then, of course, the Ren Fair has those deep fried Oreos now.
Oh,
like,
really?
You fuckers, why would you do this to me?
Deep fry anything.
Right.
Oreos, Twinkies.
The Twinkie, for whatever reason, like I tried one once. I was like, okay, it's all right. And
Yeah.
then after that, I was like, it's good.
Yeah.
But like I've had the deep fried strawberries. Those are the shit. And then
I
somebody
bet
brought
that's
up deep
good.
fried apples.
Ooh.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why has this never been in my life
I
before?
bet that's delicious.
Oh, dude, it was everything I hoped for and more.
I bet. Fuck, dude. I love fried food. I really do.
I think there's a little fat kid in all of us that.
Dude,
like,
I'm the fattest. I just have self-control enough to at least self-awareness enough to know
Yes.
there's just certain things I can't have around me.
I get to the point where I just don't feel good if I have too much of
feel like
something.
shit, bro.
Yeah. You start getting lethargy. You're like, I'll be fine in a day. You just got to sleep off like everything.
Yeah, because I'll eat something until I hate myself.
Right.
I really will. It's like that Louis C.K. joke. He's like, the meal is not over when I'm full. The meal is over when I hate myself. Like, then it's done.
And of course, like we're not like maybe it does take a special discipline to wire yourself. Like, why can't we do that for like elk or veggies, or why does it have to be all the unhealthy shit?
Dude, because those motherfuckers, some sort of chemical
They,
thing
they
going
knew
on.
that they knew all that sugar does all the dopamine rush and all those feel good hormones in our brain, but they
Yeah.
they won't.
And food developers are smart, man. Like,
Oh,
they know
yeah.
how to like bypass and override certain systems, so you just keep eating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
They're
actually
tricky.
one of my side jobs I had for a while was I delivered security tape, like so basically like hard drives and security tapes back and forth from companies, and then they stored them at this one like data vault.
Yeah.
And so I would go pick it up and swap out hard drives and then take them back there. And I didn't have to do any IT work. I just picked up and I was a delivery boy.
Okay.
But one of the facilities I used to drop off to was one that engineers like flavors and smells for food and candies and candles and stuff. And so like you see these vials there that don't look like anything, but like this is vanilla and this is orange, but it's all clear.
Yeah.
And you're watching them like put stuff into a computer and then like it would just synthesize the smell, or like they would have chemicals that they would mix together and be like, oh, cool, this is grape.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, you guys know how to do that shit? It's not actual grapes.
Dude, it's amazing.
And then
what
you
they
start
do.
thinking like, what's the other shit how do they know how to do that and what that does to us?
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's like this whole field of study within the food.
Oh
like the
yeah, it's
food
crazy.
system.
Hence why we just need to go back to hunting elk.
Dude, just as simple as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Just eat real food.
Yes.
You'll be okay.
Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to a time where I have enough honey built up in the house that I can just get rid of the refined sugar
Yeah.
and start using that for everything. Because I mean, there are times like when I make simple syrup for the bees, you do need sugar water for that.
Right.
But I've also heard you can use their honey as that as well.
I can see that. Yeah.
So
dissolve
both are
the honey
good.
first.
Yeah, because it's their honey. They made
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But what I've also heard is you don't want to like have bees and then feed them honey you get from the store, because sometimes they pasteurize that and homogenize that to where it is sugar water, but you don't know where it came from. They might not get as much nutritional value. It's like if it's something they collected and they put in there,
Right.
they'll eat it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that makes a little more sense.
Sourcing matters.
Right,
Just
exactly,
like with
100%.
everything else, man.
Yeah.
It's all about the source.
And so that's something that I'm looking to get like a couple big like 5-gallon buckets that are just always full. And once I have that, I'm like, okay, cool, we can bake some shit.
That's a lot of honey.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Dude, that's cool as shit. Have you been stung yet?
twice.
Yeah.
Only twice. I had one where I'm trying to think what the first one was. The first one was I just got a little too antsy,
Yeah.
and I literally put my finger right on the stinger.
Mm.
And then the other one, I was sitting there chill. I was cleaning up my tools, and one landed on my hand. I went, hello, and she kind of like, I just didn't move. And it's almost like she looked right at me and went, fuck you. I was like, you bitch.
Suicide.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit. Trying to kill herself.
There was one that got me like right here on the knuckle, or maybe it was like, yeah, it was like right here on the knuckle. And so like this side of my hand or my knuckle swelled up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get the stinger out fast enough.
Mm.
And so I was like trying to pick it. I'm like, so I had to take like a dull edge of a pocket knife and scrape it out. And I drained out the venom a little bit. But it's like, I didn't have like a bad reaction.
Yeah.
It just swelled up there.
Yeah.
And then John up at the gym, he was telling me that there's that documentary on Netflix, Unwell or something like that. They're exploring like using bee venom or different bee products for health and wellness and stuff.
Really?
And I was like, I was thinking, I'm like, I remember being stung and it swelled the fuck up. And I'm like, I would not call that an anti-inflammatory. But then I thought about, I'm like, I don't know if that actually alleviated joint pain in that finger because
It's hard to say.
yeah, I don't know if I want to get stung on all my knuckles just to see if that eliminates the jiu-jitsu pain.
I don't.
I could just use ice.
Yeah. Dude,
Or ibuprofen.
I use this CBD balm.
Yeah, that stuff's the bomb.
It's my fucking shit.
Which one
dude.
do you use?
I use Jumbo Superfoods.
Okay.
I've been using them for a minute, and they have a 100 milligram and then a 200 milligram extra strength with like menthol.
Okay.
And bro, I first tried them out. I guess it's been, I don't know, 2.5 years now. It was I was down in Austin. I went to go check out this Paleo FX conference, and I did I did a jiu-jitsu tournament. And I met my buddy Kyle Brown, who I think he was like a part owner at the time. And I got their balm, and like the next day my fingers were all stiff and sore after doing my jiu-jitsu tournament. Bro, I put that balm on and it just instantly like loosened my shit up, bro. Even last week I fucking really jammed my finger really bad.
Yeah.
And I've been using that 200 milligram for the past week, and it's fucking phenomenal, dude. My finger feels like a million times better. I actually got range of motion in it. It's been game changing for me, dude.
Yeah, this thumb has been messed up for a little while. I really should just break down and go see the chiropractor a few doors down and see if it's like, is this dislocated? You got to reset it. But then I pulled it and popped it the other day, and it's been feeling a little bit better ever since.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if I already did it.
Might have. Yeah.
But I actually was I was putting bombs and all sorts of stuff on there for a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think it's just dislocated. But yeah, it's amazing when you're like, oh, I'll just do this remedy, and finally you have to answer that question of, or I've just fucked myself up.
I just fucked yourself. I mean, you can never go wrong with just rest and time.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most part.
So
let's give it time. Well, Mike, this has been an amazing conversation.
Absolutely, man. Dude, amazing as always.
We're coming up on almost 2 hours, hour 45.
I can't believe it's been that long. It feels like a flu. I was actually just sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, has it been only like an hour? Like,
no, bro, we're pushing,
almost 2.
Pushing 2.
It's a good podcast.
Dude, it's been a fun conversation.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you want to leave the people with? Point them to anything like that before we go?
Man, I don't have anything else. Just, I wish I had like something motivational or something for them or anything. I'm like, I don't know. Go out and kick the shit out today, man.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, dude, I'm glad you fucking stopped by, man.
Me too. I think we've been overdue for this. So
yeah. I can't. You were like the first year. It was like I was just trying to get 100 episodes.
Yeah.
And you were like early on.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think I just saw my memories. It's definitely been 2 years.
It has been. Yeah, because you were at that apartment out in Creve Coeur, I think. Right?
Yeah, it's actually kind of catty corner to where we are.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, dude, I'm so glad you're able to stop by, brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was so cool. Like at the Cotillion, you were camping next to us and shit. It was like, oh man, like I definitely need to catch up.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, I had talked about you with Matt Madison too.
Yeah.
Like not too long before that, and so I'm like, man, I gotta hook up with him. And then we shut up. Like, that's the world, man. That's law of attraction.
That's how the universe fucking works, bro.
But there's no evidence for that, so we can't really say law of attraction.
I believe in it.
No, it does. It absolutely does. I just like going back to the whole like people need their evidence and shit. There's no evidence this works. I bet I could find something.
Fuck your evidence.
Fuck. You know what your evidence is? When you put something in front of you and you focus on that, all of your other actions will guide you towards that goal. So there it is.
Like I've had enough evidence in my life to know it's true.
Absolutely.
For sure.
For sure, man.
Well, Mike, thanks again, brother.
Absolutely, bud.
All right, everybody. Till next time.